Tuesday, June 17th, it's 7:04 p.m. We are live in the Holyoke City Council chambers. My name is Tessa Murphy Romboletti. I'm the president of the Holyoke City Council. Thank you for being here. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson Burgos.
Here.
Bartley. Devine.
Here.
Givner.
Here.
Graney.
Here.
Jourdain.
Here.
McGrath Smith.
Here.
Murphy Romboletti.
Here.
Ocasio.
Here.
Israel Rivera.
Here.
Jenny Rivera.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Bacon.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
And the city council. People.
All right, everyone. So just for housekeeping purposes, this meeting is being recorded. We are live streamed on the city's public access station and the city's website through the Boxcast, as well as being recorded on Zoom. We do have a lot of folks who are in attendance on Zoom as well. And this meeting is being translated live. So thank you to our friends at Holyoke Media for all that they do for us. I do see that there are a lot of folks here in the audience. Thank you for coming. It always warms my heart to see folks at public comment. Encourage everyone to keep coming back. And so for those of you who are not familiar with the way that we do public comment, everyone who is signed up on this list, if you are just arriving now and you have not signed up on this list, or if you are tuning in on Zoom and you do intend to speak, please state your name and address for the record. That goes for everyone. And if you are on Zoom and you do want to speak, please raise your hand so that our administrative assistant can see you and make sure that you're able to speak. I will be keeping track of time. Everyone has 2 minutes. You'll start with just saying your name and address into the public record. Yes. I'm so sorry. There's also a proclamation here this evening tonight, and I recognize that there's a lot of awesome folks here. Would folks be okay with suspending the rules to give the proclamation that we voted unanimously to approve?
So moved.
Thank you to Jeffrey. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? What would I do without you, Jeffrey? I'm sorry, everyone. Half of you are probably like, we're not here for public comment. Councilor Rivera filed an order to recognize one of our Holyoke youth who has recently received a wonderful award and accommodation, and this is something that the City Council loves to do when a councilor introduces it, just to make sure that we recognize the people in our community who are doing great stuff. So, Councilor Rivera, I would like to call you up and just introduce your order, who it's for, and invite, if you want to invite anyone up. Has to be on the microphone.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with being up here, just so you know. Councilors already understand what I mean by that. So I would say if Jesus Morales could come forward, and any family members that would like to join just in the council chambers. So I don't forget anything. I kind of wrote some stuff down. I don't usually write stuff down. So real quick, I'll say first I'd like to thank fellow city councilors and extend a special thank you, especially to Patty Devine for the calligraphy. She does the awesome writing right here if you look at it. It's old school writing. So I also want to thank you all for unanimously supporting the recognition we're about to present tonight. As a former Greater Holyoke Boys and Girls Club kid myself, having served as a peer leader, a Keystone Club member, and eventually a staff member, I deeply understand what the honor represents. To be named Youth of the Year, it is more than just an award. It's a reflection of dedication, leadership, and the positive impact one has on their peers and community. Our very own mayor at one time was the Youth of the Year at the Boys and Girls Club, among others that have accomplished this particular individual feat within the city of Holyoke. we have, well, not me, but many of these past individuals have had the privileges of being named Youth of the Year. While I personally was never given that title, I know firsthand the effort and heart and character it takes to earn that. And I kind of wanted to just highlight that with Jesus. I grew up with his dad and his uncle. I remember them from South Holyoke mostly back in the days. So for me, it's kind of a powerful testament as a counselor now to be able to hand this over to people that I kind of grew up with and known to be family in a sense. So here you go, Jesus. And then I'll give you, if you want to say something real quick, you get the chance to. It's not many times we get to stand up here.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank all my family and friends for coming out here and supporting me, especially my mother and father. I love you guys dearly. You guys do everything for me, made everything possible. So, thank you guys so much. I love you both. And I also want to thank myself for getting to this point in life. Sometimes we don't highlight that. We don't take self-accountability. So I'm proud of myself and just letting myself know I got here. I want to share a few words. One of my most significant things that sparked my interest is the desire to be a positive role model. As I reflect on my personal journey, I realize that growth and leadership begin with understanding who I am and what I stand for. Being a role model for others isn't just about giving advice or leading from the front. It's about demonstrating through actions the qualities I wish to cultivate in myself and in others. In the past, I struggled with self-doubt and uncertainty, but I'm learning to take these challenges as opportunities to grow and become someone who can positively impact others. I believe that if I lead by example, show kindness, and strive to be a better version of myself every day, others will be inspired to do the same. This major aspect of leadership is one of the most important things that help to continue in my development. That's all for today. Thank you so much.
Amazing. I think we all needed that. Am I right? Yes. I really feel like that set the tone for this evening, right? Great. Congratulations. Thank you all for being here. And, stick around for public comment because it could be fun, get engaged in local government. Thank you. And I hope to see your name in the newspaper more often, young man. We're very proud of you, so thank you for representing Holyoke very well. Appreciate it. All right, so we are gonna keep this party going. We're gonna keep that love in our hearts. And we're gonna move on to public comment, and just shout out to Jeffrey again for making sure that I'm going in the right order. I got a lot of notes here tonight. We have a meaty agenda. So without further ado, what I was saying before is just that if you are here for public comment this evening, we would love to have you state your name and address for the record. I will be keeping track of time. You have 2 minutes. Normally I do this awkward thing where I interrupt you halfway through and I tell you that you have halfway through. But instead, I took an extra leap and I laminated some papers. And I'm gonna hold them up for you. It took me a while to get to this point, but we're here. Better late than never. So that is how here in council chambers you'll know. If you are online, I'll do the awkward interruption thing. And over the break, Jeffrey and I are gonna figure out a fun solution that benefits everyone. So without further ado, I am going to start with the first name on the list, and that is Taylor McAndrew. And you, oh yes, that's right. Yep, the mic it sounds like it's on.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay, great.
You're good.
Okay, Taylor McAndrew, and my address is 48 Elliott Street in Holyoke.
Great, go ahead.
Okay, good evening. My name is Taylor McAndrew. I'm a public health professional, employee of nearby municipal government, and have worked with community coalitions and harm reduction providers for the majority of my professional career. Through my role, I have become acutely aware and involved in opioid settlement funds across Hampshire County, and this has included organizing regional opioid collaboratives, conducting surveys, focus groups, and overseeing reporting. Tonight, I'm here as a Holyoke resident to speak about the critical importance of our opioid settlement dollars, and I want to underscore 3 main themes relevant to next week's Finance Committee agenda. The first is lived expertise and community involvement. Cities have received this money due to the direct harms that were done to residents of our community and Commonwealth. It is our duty to proactively seek the input and involvement of those most directly impacted, especially those who are still using opioids, those in differing stages of recovery, and those who have lost loved ones. Second, there must be ongoing communication and transparency. Residents deserve to know the direction the city is taking and have an ongoing opportunities to get involved in this process that will go on for over a decade. The third is unique opportunity. We are living in a time where grants and federal dollars to support public health and well-being are actively being slashed. Yet this is funding that is secure and in our hands and can make real change. We are sure we want to be sure it addresses areas of focus like treatment, recovery, harm reduction, prevention. But this also gives the city the unique chance to work directly with those most impacted, listen to those stories, and foster collaboration and creative innovations. In actuality, the bureaucracy around these funds is not much. I'm eager to watch my local government go to action, center lived experience, and begin to rectify the harms done by profit-focused pharmaceutical companies. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Wow, I love the laminated. Okay, Sarah Ahern, 21 Mill Street. Come on up and just state your name and address into the record.
Sarah Ahern, 21 Mill Street, Greenfield, Mass. Good evening, Holyoke City Councilors.
1 second. Yep.
Motion to suspend the rules to allow a non-Holyoke resident to address the city council.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You may continue.
Okay, are you going to restart my time, Madam
Yep.
President? Thank you.
You got it.
Good evening, Holyoke City Councilors. My name is Sarah Ahern. I live in Greenfield, but work in Hampden County, and I am a person with lived and living experience with substance use and a family member of loss. I'm honored to be here tonight as a member of the steering committee that co-created an ordinance that created an opioid use and prevention commission that passed Greenfield City Council on May 21st, 2025. An ordinance that amplifies the voice of lived experience in our city's decision-making by establishing an opioid use and prevention commission, with seats for those with lived and living experience, family members of loss, helping make the decisions on how our abatement money is spent, a first in the state and the nation. This work is deeply personal to me and many others. It represents not only a policy proposal, but also a shift in how we think about leadership, expertise, and inclusion. It's not easy to innovate within systems that weren't built for this kind of inclusion, but together we found a way with care, with accountability, and with a shared commitment to equity. This ordinance was about recognizing a different kind of expertise. It didn't emerge overnight. It came with years of conversation, from years of harm, from years of hope, and from a deep commitment to do something different. The expertise we're talking about is lived and living experience. It's the kind that comes from those of us who have experienced substance use, who have navigated homelessness or incarceration, who have lost someone to substance use. We are not just service recipients, we are knowledge holders. We have lived through the failures in our system and we have survived them. We understand what works and what doesn't because we've been there. And for too long, people with lived experience have been invited into rooms, but rarely into positions of power, and almost never into a budget conversation about money received from harms to us and those we love who are no longer with us. Our commission has changed that. It has created a legal structure that gives community members with lived experience real power, real input, and real compensation. It creates a model where our voices don't just contribute to the conversation, they help shape decisions, guide funding, and evaluate outcomes. This is a huge win. Thank you.
Bridget Kearney, 51 Portland Street.
Bridget Kearney, 51 Portland Street. Thank you all for allowing us to speak tonight. I'm also here in support of the opioid settlement fund. We're here because this money is already awarded to the city, and we just want to bring attention to the fact that this $1.2 million is just sitting there unused and has been for years. I think everyone here in this room and everyone listening online understands this is a huge public health and safety crisis facing our city. You can see it every day. This money is such an important chance to have creative solutions that don't involve policing and punishment to really impact our city directly. And I think what we're hearing is the issue is capacity to move forward with it. So we're here to show you that there are citizens in the city and elsewhere that are ready to help support the city to move forward with this. To help develop the solutions. What we really just want to emphasize over and over again is that people that are directly impacted by this crisis need to be at the table. And that's something that is out, the funds, require that, but we just want to make sure that that's the case. And there's amazing, incredible people in the city that are ready to do that. The other issue is just transparency. We want to make sure that this whole process is transparent and that you include us in the process and what's happening. If you go online to the website, on holyoke.gov, it's just this basic information that's just been sitting there for a long time and no movement has happened on it. So that's why we're here, to just encourage you all to help us focus on this and get a win for the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next, I have Nadia Schlesser, 83 Pearl Street.
Yes.
83.
Nadia Schessler, 83 Pearl Street. I wrote up my notes, but they just deleted, so I'm going to try. It felt important to show up tonight, given that I recently joined conversations about the opioid settlement funds. As Bridget mentioned, we're sitting on $1.2 million, and by 2039, we'll have $3.6 million. I was invited to a Board of Health meeting on May 21st to talk about these funds with the Director of Community Development, who told myself and other community members we would receive updates within 2 weeks. Those updates never came. I understand figuring out how to administer and manage funds takes time, but we are approaching 3 years, what seems to be not enough action, let alone communication with the public. The mandate of these funds is that people with lived and living experience are centered in the discussion and decision making. It is one thing to say you are invested in this model. It is another thing to do the nitty-gritty work of making connections with community members, organizations, and resources that have a vested interest and want to actively participate. I urge City Council, the Mayor, and all members of Holyoke governance to recognize the importance of taking a deliberate role in this process, that they show us clearly that steps are being taken to ensure that these funds are utilized as intended and decided by people who represent the city and are experts in their own lives. Thanks.
Thank you. Claire McGill, 35 Linwood.
Hello. Hi, I'm Claire McGill. I do live at 35 Linwood in Holyoke. I'm also here to talk about the disbursement of the abatement funds in Holyoke. Until recently, I was a peer leadership development coordinator at the Recover Project in Greenfield, which, like Hope for Holyoke, is a peer recovery center, which is and one thing that all peer recovery centers fervently believe and put into practice is that wisdom resides within. So I come from a space that not just values lived experience, but highlights it and puts it on a pedestal. And it's from that legacy that the mandates for this grant funding come from. It's the fact that we don't just need to speak to people with lived experience, lived and living experience with opioid use and recovery. We need to put those voices at the forefront in the decision-making process. And I know that can be hard to swallow, but I'm a person with lived experience. The folks behind me, many of whom have family members of loss, and they have lived experience, whether that's in servicing this community or personal lived experience with substance use. And so I assure you that we have teams of people ready to help guide this process. And not only that, I mean, I'm unemployed. I'm available. Let's go. Was that my time? Okay.
15 seconds.
All right, 2 seconds?
15.
I just want to emphasize how important this is and that there's really not a whole lot standing in our way.
Thank you. Okay, up next we have Paul Alves, 216 Homestead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Alves. I do live at 216 Homestead Avenue here in Holyoke. I too would like to amplify the uplifting of people with lived and living experience in order to have a voice in the use of these funds to support the community. I am a person who used drugs for the first 27 out of my first 36 years. I've been running a small nonprofit here in Hampden County supporting people who have substance use and mental health challenges for I'm going on 8 years. So I've seen a lot here in the community. So I want to share with you just a couple of pieces about recovery principles. And a few of them are: recovery is trauma-informed, it's supported by culture, it's supported by peers. Recovery is person-driven, which means it comes from the individual. You can have whatever letters behind your name, but at the end of the day, the person's going to walk out the door and they're going to do what they feel is best for them, right? We are the experts of our experience as you are the expert of your experience. One of the principles, actually the first one listed, is that recovery, there's based on hope. That means that we have a belief that people can get well, that humans can get better. And if we're putting the power in the hands of people who do not have this experience, what does that say about our belief in them? So I just wanted to uplift that. Thank you very much for your time and for your service. I look forward to being on the team, working all together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next is Pedro Alvarez, 230 South Street.
Good evening, Pedro Alvarez, 230 South Street, Holyoke, Mass. I'm gonna keep it sweet, short and sweet. Like they mentioned, there's over $1.2 million available. Funding that needs to be approved and implemented for the following: administrative costs, connection to care, criminal justice supports, family supports, harm reduction, opioid use disorder treatment, prevention and education, treatment/recovery supports. Holyoke has said no to pooling funds. They're not interested in pooling funds. They're not interested in reallocating funds, and they did not hire a fiscal agent. They have not engaged families impacted by substance abuse disorder. They have not engaged people in recovery. They have not engaged people who use drugs. They have not engaged people, subject matter experts. There's no municipal planning process. There's no consulting with CareMass/RISE. They have not contracted a consultant and have not planned with other municipalities. Meanwhile, in this year's first quarter alone, there have been 483 opioid-related 911 calls in Holyoke. In a 6-month time frame, I also wear a hat. I work at Tapestry, as you all well know. We've seen over 1,900 unique participants and over 6,353 encounters. 370 of those encounters involved wound care assessment and or treatment referrals. Nearly 3,000 naloxone kits were distributed by Holyoke staff, and we're still recovering from our deadliest year from fatal overdoses in 2023 with 37. And that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Last on the list here in person is Elizabeth Coretti Ramirez, 205 Bemis.
I actually used my maiden name. My name is Elizabeth Grisanti, 205 Bemis Road. Sorry about that. Sometimes
that's all right. I'm hyphenated. I get it.
So I'm speaking today about Resolution 70, which is asking Holyoke to cooperate with ICE. First, I just want to say that when my ancestors came here from Europe, they were poor, and they pretty much just waltzed in the door. Now there's a lot of Europeans on this land that are in power, and we're turning around and saying, you can't come in. That doesn't seem right to me in and of itself, because we came here without an invitation to this land. Immigrants are vital to our society. And this is evidenced by Trump's recent reversal on rounding up immigrants from restaurants, hotels, and farms, because our economy cannot operate without them. Many of my friends are immigrants. Hopefully everybody in this room has friends who are immigrants. If you are a person with humanity that loves people, I would hope that you would embrace everybody in our community. The problem in cooperating with ICE is that there's a quota that Trump's put out for arresting 1,200 people a day, and there's a profit motive for these prisons. They just built a huge prison in Guantanamo Bay. This dictator in El Salvador is just taking people, no questions asked. He's making money on this. This is a profit motive on people's pain, on death. We will have blood on our hands if we cooperate with this. Our police, we pay taxes for them to help in Holyoke. We have plenty of problems that we need our police for. Let ICE do their job. We don't need to help them with that. If immigrants are afraid of ICE, they're going to stop cooperating with the police, stop sending their children to school, stop seeking medical help. And if you are voting for this resolution, I think you should stop eating in restaurants. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so that is all who I had signed up for in person. I do have folks on Zoom. So the same thing will apply to those who are with their hands raised on Zoom. You have 2 minutes. I don't think I'm going to have the same effect raising a sign from here in council chambers, so I will just let you know when you're at 1 minute. But the first hand we have is Spencer Fox Peterson. I'm sorry, hold on one second. Oh, I apologize. The first one we have is Mimi Panich. So just state your name and address, and then I'll start the clock.
Okay. Mimi Panich, 134 Madison Avenue. And I am also here to speak about item number 70 on the agenda. And I think my approach is a little bit different. It's a complex topic, and I will try to keep this super short. But, it is true, as far as I know, that we are not a sanctuary city. I personally think that's fine because it gives us a lot of flexibility. It, interestingly, does not preclude us from having policies that are sometimes associated with sanctuary cities. Like, we can still have an independent police department that doesn't particularly cooperate with ICE. And as someone who identifies as a supporter of the police, I think it is important that we not enact anything that traps the police into cooperating with ICE. We have a new chief who is working along with the department really hard on establishing community trust and relationships. They should not be associated with masked, heavily armed, unidentified people who snatch other people off the streets.
1 minute.
That is my concern here. The resolution is fine as it repeats things already on our books, but the frank invitation to ICE to have Kristi Noem and Tom Homan come in here and tell us what they consider a sanctuary city and what we need to do in order to not get our applications for funding dinged when we put grants in, just is a terrible potential place for Holyoke to be. And, this could be elaborated, but I won't try to do it tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Up next, we have Spencer Fox Peterson.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you for having me. My name is Spencer Fox Peterson. I'm a Holyoke resident at 51 Portland Street. I'm calling in solidarity with all the people advocating for proper use of these funds for harm reduction. While I'd like to also tie in a few things, because this does kind of tie into the whole ICE thing that you're all going to potentially decide on today. Remember, policing isn't solving any of our problems, whether it's immigrants or our social ills. They're not solving anything. And the amount of money spent to then make profit for private organizations in the name of public safety is really disgusting. And if we're thinking about harm reduction, one thing is we need to long-term think about how policing and caging human beings doesn't actually solve problems like drug addiction and or crimes as a result of drug addiction and poverty. So I think we really need to start taking real serious look at these budgets. And I've been advocating this for years, so this is nothing new. But the point is, at some point, you're going to be asked to do things like cooperate with ICE or whatever, and you're going to be in a spot where you can't say no. We need to be building up our communities, not be giving over ceding power to men with guns. They don't make us safer, and that's just the truth. So listen to these people that are advocating for harm reduction and dealing with our issues at the core root. This has nothing to do with keeping us safe. This policing stuff has nothing to do with that. And it's proven over and over again. There's a tie from poverty to criminality, whatever that is supposed to mean. Anyways, thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And anybody listening, please Google or read up on abolition. We do not need prisons, and we do not need thugs with guns. They're gangs. Thank you.
All right, with 4 seconds to spare, thank you. Up next, hold on. I have JR.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, my name is John J.R. Rivera. I live over in 125 Cabot Street in Ward 1. I'm a Puerto Rican resident. I was raised here all my life, and I just wanted to speak on two things in support of the previous speakers on the basis of utilizing our opioid resettlement funds apropos, like very appropriately, and making sure that they're not mismanaged. But I'm also speaking on the basis of I think it's order number 70 that some city councilors have presented on the basis of collaboration with some very, very unconstitutional threats to, our supposed democracy. I'd like to highlight a couple things regarding which I do agree that with the previous speakers on the basis of that flexibility. Just because we aren't a sanctuary city does not mean that we can utilize that flexibility to support our most our people that need the help the most.
1 minute.
And I'd also like to speak on the basis that a lot of these things are very unconstitutional, and they've been presented so forth by courts. So, like collaborating with ICE is just essentially, like in of itself, like unconstitutional, because many courts are ruling in that these threats are unconstitutional. I'd also like to highlight that no matter which presidential administration, it's always going to be a threat against immigrants. We've had in the previous presidential administrations, such as like the presidential Obama administration, which holds the highest record for illegal immigrant deportations. It's never going to stop, and what we're seeing right now is an extreme threat. We've been seeing it ramp up for the last 30 years. We really need to come
We're
into
at
support
time.
with immigrants. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am not seeing any other hands up on Zoom, and I'm not seeing anyone else. Oh, come on up. And just, the drill, state your name and address into the record. Just make sure the microphone's still on.
Got you.
Oh, yeah.
My name is Nicholas Alicea. I'm of Springfield. Right now, I live at 1252 Bay Street, Springfield, Mass. But I was a long-term resident. Excuse me.
We did have a motion already.
We already did the motion.
No, it's cool. No. I felt it was coming. Yeah.
I paused your time. You're good.
But I was a long-term resident of 152 West Street in the Flats. My family owns Center Street Market down there, so I know what it is to live in Holyoke and be part of here. One of the many things that scares me as I'm running through here is that I always see new faces that are attacked by this disease of addiction. I work for an organization. I'm the Western Mass Regional Coordinator with MORE. My name was on the website as well as Debbie Finn Gonzalez, and we never got a phone call. The reason why I say this is because we have large collaborations of people who have lived here, whom have succeeded the active power of active addiction and are in recovery. Recovery saves lives. Harm reduction saves lives. We can't help no one if they are dead. In the practices of harm reduction, the opioid abatement funds should be allocated to the result power of the people of this community, meaning an active board of people who have lived experience and are living with the experiences at hand. Why do I say that? Because there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. You want to go far, you go together. Holyoke, hopeful Holyoke, beautiful beacon of this city for individuals that feel that it can't be heard. Yet they're in a building that is falling apart. They have saved many lives. Countless people have gone to detox. The amount of overdoses that have been reversed from the community services that they have played, we can't quantify that number. But we have the opportunity to make a difference, long lasting, and be innovative in the way that we do things with our opioid abatement funds. And what I meant to say that want to go far, go together, there are plenty of towns within this area who are joining together because this is something new. This is something new. I guarantee you guys have been sitting with this money because it's like, what do we do with it? It's okay to ask for help. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I think that is everyone for public comment. Councilor Anderson Burgos.
Yeah, before they leave, I just want to mention, first of all, thank you for coming out and speaking about the opioid abatement. It means a lot to me, and there's a reason for that. Not only do I care, but this Friday I'm going to celebrate my 24 years of sobriety. So every single word hit my heart because I know the passion, what drives you, and the necessity to help human life. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart coming out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. I encourage you to just, keep coming back. It's fun. We love public comment. It's democracy. Appreciate all of your time. We always have public comment every regular council meeting. So with that, we do have, like I said, we have a lengthy agenda this evening, and I do want to make sure that it's our last full meeting before the end of the fiscal year. So get your fiscal New Year's resolutions ready, folks, because it's coming. Okay, I've got lots of jokes tonight. But before that, I don't often do this, but I do. I'm hoping as legislators of the Holyoke City Council for the city of Holyoke, I would ask. I don't often ask, but I'm hoping that we can actually have a moment of silence for fellow legislators who, in the last week, were. Just the target of an act of violence and assassination. And so for me, I don't know about you all, it hit very close to home because I know we have heated debates, but I appreciate that we all do try to work together. And in a time when who knows what's going on, I just want us to all kind of remember that. So I'm hoping that we could have a moment of silence for State Representative Melissa Hartman and her husband Mark, and just hope that we can all do better as people in our country. Thank you. You all show up here and do the work, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. With that, we do have the item number 1 is our regular meeting minutes from the June 3rd, 2025 meeting. Are there any edits? Motion to receive? Any edits or corrections? Thank you, Madam Clerk and Jeffrey. As always, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I believe we'll just keep 2 and 3.
And 4.
And 4?
Yep.
And 5?
And 5.
And 6 and 7?
We're going right through this agenda, no problem.
We are in great shape so far, folks. Moving on to communications, we do have item number 8 is a communication from the mayor appointing Ms. Megan Connolly of 9 McMahon Drive to serve on the library board of directors. To public service.
You receive and send to public service?
Receive and send to public service. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, number 9 is a letter from the mayor reappointing Michael Falsetti to the Citizens Advisory Committee.
Motion to approve?
Yep, and confirm, yep.
Motion to receive and confirm. Any discussion?
Mike's a long time. He's had a lot
Yeah.
of different hats, from housing to
Yeah.
you name it. Mike's a great guy,
He's great on CPA too.
and we're lucky to have him.
And HHA.
Jack of all municipal trades.
Another basketball
All right.
coach.
A longtime Holyoke
Yeah, long
businessman,
time.
too.
Yes.
Long-time coach.
High Street.
So many things. Thank you for your service, Mr. Falsetti. Do we need a roll call vote for this, Madam Clerk? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. 10 is from Mayor Garcia. This is a letter appointing Heather Leanders of 11 Robert Drive to the Commission on Disabilities.
Public service?
Send to public service. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. And we've got 11 is a communication from our treasurer regarding free cash.
Be received?
Motion to receive. Motion to receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 12 is from our auditor. It's the general fund sewer enterprise budget to actuals and fiscal year 2025 pilot payments to 6/13/25.
Be received?
Motion to receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 14 is the intermunicipal agreement for regional animal control services, GGR.
Oh,
Did we do?
what about 13, Madam President?
Oh, I apologize. I got excited. 13 is from our city auditor. It's the budget revisions from the mayor. So it's page 1, page 42. Some information there.
Motion
Receive
to
and lay
table.
on the table?
Receive and lay on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now is 14. Intermunicipal agreement for regional animal control services.
Be received?
Received?
Send
You
to
want it?
finance, I would assume, or
Finance,
DGR?
DGR.
Finance, I would think.
Madam
but-
Chair?
Yes.
We all
Counselor
have a
Devine?
copy of this. We can just read it. I don't know.
I guess I'm just wondering if, like, I know
Is there
for
any approval
agreements.
required, or any?
I don't know. That's why I initially thought DGR, but
Okay.
that's just me.
All right.
I go to DGR then.
Okay. Unless anyone strongly opposed?
DGR.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 15?
Item 15, 16, and 17 be received?
Motion to suspend the rules and take up item 15, 16, and 17 and receive. So 15 is from, it's the meeting minutes from the Health Benefit Trust from April. 16 is minutes from February 12th, March 12th, February 26th. It's Historic Community, or Holyoke Community Preservation Act Committee meeting minutes. And January 15th and January 22nd. And 17 is minutes from the Historic Commission from February 10th and March 10th. Motions to receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Petitions. Moving forward is 18 is a petition of Robert Rose of 414 Hillside Ave, Suite 167 for a home occupation for a custom fabrication shop.
DGR.
DGR. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 19 is a petition for a home occupation permit for a psychotherapy, psychiatric, outpatient mental health practice, Ellis Sussman, Tyrone O'Banner of 1 through 9 Martin Street. DGR?
DGR.
All those in favor? Any opposed? And 20 is a petition of Sixon Mass LLC of 15 Main Street for a recreational marijuana retail establishment. Ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We're just moving swimmingly. I know, Howie, I'm not going to jinx us. So true. This is not our first rodeo, huh? Okay, hold on. Let me pull up my president's report. I'll keep it brief. So the fireworks, as a friendly reminder, are Friday, June 27th at Holyoke Community College. There's, as always, music, food, lots of activities for the whole family. The events are at 6 and fireworks start at dusk. That was my favorite question when I worked in the mayor's office. What time is dusk? You can check on the internet. But the rain date, hopefully we don't need it, is Sunday, June 29th. And then the Parking Advisory Committee was approved for an 11 a.m. meeting time on June 13th. The Tourism Advisory Committee was approved for a 4 p.m. start time on June 17th. In order to adhere to open meeting law, I am required to notify you all of that. Oh, thank you. It's local ordinance, not open meeting law. I'm just trying to follow the rules. So the special meeting to vote on the budget is actually going to be next Monday, June 23rd. Depending on how things go, there's evening, as you all know, there are a lot of items on the agenda. We may need to have another committee meeting. I'm just riding this wave with you all if it's needed before we vote. We will make sure everything is scheduled in advance, and I will be in constant communication with everyone. But I just want to thank everyone for all their work and all the department heads who showed up to all of the hearings. So thank you all. And I think that's it for me. Does anyone have anything they want to add? Councilor Graney and then Councilor Givner.
Madam President, just a location for the fireworks for the public.
I'm sorry, thank you. Holyoke Community College. Councilor Givner?
Thank you, Madam President. So this week it's Juneteenth, and Wisteria Hearst Museum has a series of events going on, and that's at Wisteria Hearst on Thursday the 19th from 12 to 3 p.m. And then there's also an event at the Dwight Street Garden, a summer solstice cookout. That's this weekend on Saturday, June 22nd from 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. So if you're interested in community gardening and want to get involved, they have a nice event going on. And I think that's all I had. Thank you.
Saturday's the 21st, just to heads up.
So it's Sunday the 22nd then, sorry.
Thank you. And Councilor Anderson Burgos, you might be saying what I'm going to say. You go right ahead.
Yeah, so thank you.
Me neither.
So, dear Holyoke, this Saturday from 12 to 6 is the Holyoke Pride Fest. Sure going to be a lot of fun. So bring everyone and anyone, obviously is welcome. And then there's a block party afterwards at Fame. What's the building's name? War something?
The Warrigan.
The Warrigan, yeah. So it'll be in that parking lot. But please tell your friends. It's going to be an amazing show and a lot of food trucks and vendors and performance. Yep. Thank you.
Oh, whoops! Did I need that? Anyone else? Okay. Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes. Councilor Bartley.
Would you be kind enough to just suspend the rules, take late file 75 up out of order? I just want to get this put in the right committee before I have to go.
75, sure.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take item 75. Do I have?
I don't have that on my agenda.
Is it 74, the Kestrel Land Trust one, or?
Yeah, it's Kestrel, but it says 75 on my
Yeah,
on
it's
the
74
paperwork.
on the updated one.
74, I think.
That's great, but it says 775 on mine. But yes, if you take
Motion to suspend the rules and take up item 74 out of order. All All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 74 is a communication from Kestrel Land Trust regarding right of first refusal for Mountain Road parcel under Chapter 61A. Counselor Bartley?
Yeah, so just, my motion is very simple, just to send it to DGR.
Second.
That's it.
Motion's been made and seconded to send to DGR. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So we're gonna head into, yes?
That's what I thought.
Okay, so 73 and 74 were actually, wait,
In an earlier agenda, it was the same letter, so.
that's why it's messed up?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you. So we're gonna head into reports of committees, and we've got, sorry, let me pull, I have too many agendas. 21
Right.
is the Committee on Ordinance,
Table.
to whom was referred an order that City Council adopt the attached substitute municipal modernization ordinance. Recommended that the order be adopted, adding the Chief Administrative and Finance Officer, CAFO, to grade 17 of Schedule A, the Treasurer Collector to grade 14 of Schedule A, and the Comptroller to grade 13 of Schedule A.
Yes, thank you.
Councilor
For this,
Rivera.
we're all set.
Sorry.
No worries. So for this particular order, there's a lot. So I just kind of summarized some notes around just with like some key ideas. The idea is to modernize functions, especially around key positions. They renamed, and some duties were also reassigned. Ideally, some of the goals too were to address concerns raised by independent audits, also provide a better service to constituents in the long term. It also was presented that there were increased efficiencies and cost savings with a net loss of 2 unfilled positions, but also no net gain of new positions. Reduces reliance on contractors, ensure timely year-end closing for filing of state and federal documents, as well as provide additional oversight for the mayor and financial departments, additional auditing of all city departments and functions, as well as enhancing reports or reporting to the mayor and city council, as well as the general public. We met several times on this particular item. It was tabled for a couple different meetings, I want to say, over a span of maybe 2 to 3 months. Ideally, we were trying to land in a space where we can move this forward and kind of go through the process of the steps of getting rid of the treasurer, as well as bringing everything all together with regards to our financing departments. So that's pretty much the report of the committee here for 21. People have questions, obviously, because it is what it is, but you go ahead.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Jordan, and then Councilor Bacon.
Yeah, just for the sense of expediency of our time, I'd like to make a motion to table items 21, 22, and I believe 41 is also part of the municipal modernization ordinance. All of these items are going to come up and be discussed at the same time and voted on as a package relative to the charter changes that are coming our way next week. So,
So I'm sorry, say that again. 21,
22 and 41, I
Got
believe,
it.
are all in that package, and for the ordinance changes. So I'd like to make a motion to table those, and then we'll do them next week.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Madam President.
So motions, hold on one second. Motions been made and seconded to suspend the rules, taking items 21, 22, and 41 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll do that part first. Any opposed? Okay. Under discussion, Councilor Devine?
Yeah, item 41.
Did you, I'm sorry.
My motion was to table.
To
so if it
table,
was
so there's
approved,
no, so.
That's the end.
There's no discussion. If,
But so I didn't vote on whether or not,
I didn't
I just voted on whether we take it up as a package, because that's what I just heard right now. I didn't hear.
that, okay, yes.
Okay, so as a
I'm
pack-
sorry, I'm not trying to
No, of course.
pull anything. So hold on. The motion was made, it was made and seconded to suspend the rules and
as a package.
table items 21, 22, and 41.
Correct.
So, and to table. I would like to read 21, 22, and 41 into the record.
Well, I don't mind holding my motion in abeyance if there's a couple comments.
That's kind of why I just wanted to do some
I want to be
discussion,
courteous
but-
to anybody that wants to make a few comments, but I don't think we should really get into a long-winded when we're all going to do this as a package next week. So I'm going to save my comments for next week. But please, if anybody
Okay.
wants to say, I'll withdraw my motion for the moment.
Okay, so the motion's withdrawn. Is that, I need a motion in the microphone?
We voted to take it up as a package
Okay.
initially. So then, if the
Under-
chair of ordinance still wanted to continue with the committee report,
Or for 22 and 41.
21, 22, and 41?
I already did 21, so in a sense, it would be doing 22.
It would just be taking them all up together as a package to adding 22 and 41.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not against the idea, and then just so I could unpack, I guess 22 and 41. 22 falls in line. It's voting on the position of chief administrative and financial officer. The order is complied with, and then 41. It's it's changing the human resource department, or right now it's currently called personnel, and it's just changing the wording and just to fit and match what's across other districts or other communities that are doing this. So my understanding is because we're doing this with the modernization, it only made sense to fall in line with that too as well while we're doing this piece. I think my only question with regards to tabling it till next week is what do we mean by next week? Like, is it like at the budget hearing next week, or at like if
Yep.
that's what it is, then I have no problem with tabling it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's because there is no meeting next week, then it's an issue for me.
No, that's a fair question, and if I may, and then Councilor Bacon, I see your hand up, so I'll call on you next. That's a fair question. We do have a special meeting that is scheduled for next Monday to vote on the budget. And if these items get laid on the table tonight, then we can still take that up on the agenda. I can make sure that those items are included on the agenda for Monday night's meeting so that we can have the discussion, because what's important would be that we have the discussion before voting on the budget. Because some of these changes will impact there's versions of the budget that have been presented to the council, and those will be, discussed on Monday. So, yeah, I think that would be. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Councilor.
If I may add only to that, because everything you said is perfect, I would just add, we'll also have for our consideration all the charter changes. These are the ordinance changes. Next week, we'll also have the charter change package that's going, also needed with this, so we can vote on the ordinance, everything related to municipal modernization in one vote. And then, people will vote yes or no on the whole package. And by the way, the mayor has also sent us a communication, late file, saying he's going to approve the whole thing if the council passes it. So he's not going to cherry pick. He's voting and approving it all as a package based on what the council moves forward. So we have that commitment from the mayor, and we should honor that commitment.
Thank you. Councilor Bacon?
Thank you, Madam President. So I wish to offer a minority report relative to the Modernization Act. And as the vice chair of the Ordinance Committee, I find this act to be a very large expansion of local government at a time when the citizens are already complaining to us about the burden of the taxes they are paying. This change, which started out to be about adding a CAFO and consolidating our treasurer-collector, has morphed into an ordinance that adds not one, but two, but three additional positions into our local government. It mirrors the ordinance and positions in the city of Springfield, which is 3 to 4 times larger than Holyoke. It is not a fair comparison between the book of business, and the amount of work between the communities. The eligibility and qualifications that have been laid out relative to the CAFO are, interestingly and importantly, qualifications that are held by our current mayor, who ran for mayor and who appears to be running unopposed with the goal of addressing the financial problems in our city. And I hope that he will. I believe, and I have supported by my actions, my words, and my orders in the consolidation of the treasurer collector. There's been fair debate on the matter of the CAFO. On the matter of this other ordinance and all of the positions that got thrown into this, I'm just going to call it how I see it. Done in the back room, brought out in the public, hurry up and pass it. We've basically had 3 meetings on this huge reorg in this city, one of which 2 of us on the ordinance committee could not attend, that was called at the last minute because at about 10 of 10, when we were in a substantive meeting on the matter, the chair called the meeting. And in the meeting, scheduled the next meeting when 2 of us could not attend, and it was known that we could not attend. So I just find that we've kind of got the cart in front of the horse here. I feel that this has been rushed, and I feel that it is too much on the taxpayers who have been telling us for quite a while now that they are hurting under the tax burden. Right now, we're looking at a budget that's increasing 4.6%. When I ran the numbers of the basic budget and the optional budget, I saw an $84,000 savings, but the savings came from a cut in a procurement position, not in a finance position. So I've been doing a lot of due diligence. I've reached out to the consultant. I've reached out to our auditor, trying to get a handle on all the numbers. It's pretty complex and a little bit of a challenge to get your arms around, but I just felt that I had to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I have Councilor Devine, and then I have Councilor Israel Rivera, and then I have Councilor Anderson Burgos. What I will say to everyone as a reminder is that it sounds like there was going to be a motion that this gets tabled. It does not sound like we are voting on anything tonight. Right. But what I will say, I'm going to give everyone the opportunity to weigh in this evening. Just keep that in mind. And we'll go from there. So I have Councilor Devine.
Yeah, real quickly, I don't have a problem with 21 and I was at 22 to put those together. My sense with 41, that seems more clerical than anything, to change it from personnel to human resources. I mean, if you want to table it and bring it up, go ahead. But I just see it as a clerical. The other thing, and I'm sorry that Councilor Vacan left the room. I wanted to ask her why she was doing a minority report.
Okay. Well,
I will just.
Yeah, Councilor Vacan.
Thank you. Through the chair, through the president.
Sure, thank you.
As vice chair and a minority of the committee, I offered a minority report. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would note on item 21, there is a missing portion in the legal form. And if you bear with me for a minute. There's section 11, let's see, B3, that was removed, but it was not replaced with the updated language. So it does need to be tabled to be corrected.
Okay, Attorney Bissonnette, did you catch that? I'm sure, this is recorded, so we'll...
It's just a technical matter.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have Councilor Israel Rivera and then Councilor Anderson Burgos.
So I guess the only thing I would add is, in the course of democracy, ideally, you get people to sit at the table and have discourse. And I'm going to continue to reiterate this fundamental ideology around having discourse. When we're having these meetings, intentionally, it feels like sometimes it's always questions or ideas that can block or undermine. And in a sense, like, I get it where we're trying to meet in the middle and not everyone agrees on certain things. But for me, and I'm only putting it out there because it happened at my meeting the other night, and it's going to continue to happen. And I feel like it's totally unfair to the public. And I just had to call it out. In reality, yes, there's times where we don't agree, but the intention of these meetings, and in subcommittee meetings especially, it's literally for everyone to sit there and have conversations and hash it out so that we can make a process to go forward. And I'm gonna be honest with you, within these 3 meetings that we did have around this topic, it wasn't just 3 meetings. It was 3 meetings that were like 4 hours long. It's not writing off the 1 or 2 meetings we quote unquote had. These meetings, we could have done a lot of other work for the city throughout the process in these meetings, but instead we were stuck on one particular topic because people want to go in circles and continue to try to pick and nitpick and not actually cite real sources, but like go through the process. So for me, it's like, if we're going to continue to do subcommittees in a way that is productive, or at least try to, let's come to the table and have actual discourse to build. Because I'm not feeling like that's happening all the time, and that's not fair to the public. I don't care about me per se as the chair, but like for the public themselves, for people that are watching and want to see results, the discourse is really needed. Not just us as counselors, but also department heads and everyone else within the community, because it's really not happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Anderson Burgos, and then we'll move forward.
Thank you, Madam President. So first of all, I want to thank the chair of the ordinance for the amount of work you put into this. And I see it, I get it. It's reorganizing, and it's a huge move. And I constantly hear, it almost sounds like accusations, as if there was a lot of fast movements and it's before us, and there's like, it almost as if there's a trick up someone's sleeve, right? That's previously, a few minutes ago, that's what I felt like was being stated, and that's an unfair thing to say, although it's been said. But I also want to mention, the mayor was voted by a big margin, and he's unopposed right now. And his history, in my personal opinion, I've seen a lot of growth and a lot of fresh new ideas come from this administration, from this office. And for me, it's like fresh air. And I appreciate this approach. And sometimes big changes need to be done so that we can see big improvements in the city. I mean, with this city, has struggled for many, 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 many years. So I think this is, in my opinion, this is a good move. And I also hear that the ratepayers, the ratepayers who are paying the taxes, again, I want to remind everyone that came out to vote voted for Mayor Garcia because they believed in him. So I think we owe it to not only the voters, but to the mayor, and to thank him for doing a different approach. That's it.
Okay, Councilor Greaney.
Quickly, Madam Chair, for an ordinance that includes a CAFO, the mayor, and a comptroller is excessive. I will not support it at all, ever. Thank you.
Thank you. So we don't need any side comments. You're all doing so great tonight. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you respecting me and not doing that. Thank you. So, I had a motion to take item 20, 22, and 41 as a package, and it sounds like perhaps...
Table them, please.
Table them.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. 20, 23 is the Committee on Ordinance, to whom was referred an order that the following entry be added to city ordinances, section 86-325. Excuse me. This is stop streets directed to the ordinance to be heard. Street stop, Vernon Street, direction of travel, southerly intersection, Main Street. Recommended that the order be adopted. Councilor Rivera.
Yeah, ironically, there was discourse on this one, and we were able to come to an agreement. So the committee recommended that the order be adopted. That's pretty much simple.
Motion to pass the first
Can I have a
reading.
motion?
So a motion to pass the first reading.
Motion to pass the first reading.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Second.
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion that the passage be ordained. Or
Oh, sorry, motion to
Yeah.
pass the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion that the passage be ordained.
Second.
The clerk will call the roll. And I forgot to mention this, Councilor McGrath Smith got her name pulled first, so she will vote first. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you are voting to adopt item number 23.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Did we take action on the last one, 21, 22, and 41? It was tabled? I don't remember a vote on that.
Can't hear.
We took a voice vote.
Voice.
We
Took a
tabled
voice.
21, 2, and 41. Earlier? Just
Yep.
3 minutes ago.
All right, I missed it, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
No problem. Okay. So with that, you passed item 23. 24 and 25, do you want?
So I would take a motion. I entertain a motion to take them up as a package and send them back to committee unless someone else has any other.
Second.
But for me, that's where.
I'd like to make a motion to give both leave to withdraw, and I think we should have a conversation offline.
Motion was made and seconded.
So hold on. So the motion was made and seconded to suspend the rules and take item 24 and 25 as a package and send them back to committee. Under discussion, Councilor Jordan.
Definitely opposed to taking them up as a package. 24 needs to go away, in my humble view. 25, maybe we could go back to committee with that one. But yeah, I think we should oppose the rule suspension to take 24 as this. This is an idea whose long day needs to go away, and for a variety of reasons. But 25, if it's really the will of the body to keep the conversation going, that could potentially bring us in maybe a positive place together. So, but I personally think we should have a conversation offline and maybe refile something else. But 25, I guess, if the heart of the body, I could go along with that going back to committee, I guess.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Bacon?
I just wanted to note that I did second the motion to give leave to withdraw. That was an amendment to the motion to go back to committee.
So, yep, we also just haven't really voted on
Package one,
the package one first. So, Councilor Rivera, what would you like to do? Would you like to take them separately?
To me, I leave them together. I'm not picking a favorite over one or another. That's not my position.
Okay, so we'll vote on that first motion to suspend the rules and take items 24 and 25 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed?
No.
Let's do sure.
Roll call.
We can do a roll call. Madam Clerk?
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
No.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Nope.
Bacon,
No.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
No.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
No.
Jordan.
No.
7 yeas, 6 nays.
Okay.
Not a rule suspension there.
So there's no rule suspension there, right? So we'll do 24.
Motion to send 24 back
Can
to
I,
committee.
yes, can I read it first though? I haven't read it into the record, and I'm afraid I'm going to forget. 24 is the Committee on Ordinance, to whom was referred an order that the City of Holyoke amend ordinance that provides Columbus Day as a holiday be updated to wording that reflects that Columbus Day will now be referred to as Indigenous Peoples Day, formerly known as Columbus Day. Recommended that the order be adopted as amended, striking out formerly known as Columbus Day. And there's, so that's 24. There was Councilor Givner. You were just, go ahead.
I was in favor of the motion to send it back to committee. No, item 24.
Just under discussion.
Under discussion, the motion was made to send back to committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Under discussion.
I'll
Councilor Bartley.
I'll vote to send it back to committee.
Okay.
I'm just curious, and I guess we'll hear it in committee. We took this up a couple of times. We just heard from the chair about 4-hour meetings and doing the people's business. We did it once. We took a vote to move it forward to tonight. What's the problem? Let's take the vote one way or the other. Either we're going to change it or we're not going to change it. Why do we need, this is rhetorical. I don't really care what the answer is, frankly.
I feel that.
I take the vote.
I get it. Yep.
But we did this last night. In fact, you were on the Zoom meeting, Madam President.
I was.
We discussed this. We went through it. We went through the arguments, and then we just moved it forward.
It wasn't last night.
What is?
It wasn't last night, but it was
Whatever it was.
last week. But I understand.
Thank you. I appreciate your clarification.
Yeah. No worries.
But
Counselor,
frankly,
yes.
I'm just
Apologize.
curious. No, you're right. I'm just curious as to why, because now it looks like we're going to send, and I'll vote to send it back, and we'll take up more of the so-called precious time doing the people's business. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Jordan?
If I may, Madam President, I really don't think we should send this back to committee. I would prefer actually, the gentleman has been dead for 500 years, okay? There is no new information that's going to come to light in the next between now and we have a committee meeting. So if there's a decision here to throw Mr. Columbus under the bus and back it up over him, I just as soon have that discussion tonight, take the vote, let's all throw the chips down on the table, and let's go. To send it back to committee, for what? This, in my opinion, does not have the votes, will not pass this term, certainly. So why are we doing this?
There you go.
This is a rerun movie.
Answer your own
I
question.
personally think we don't need these kind of wildly divisive issues in the city. Doesn't help anybody at all. Perhaps 25 gets us to a place of how do we understand each other. We've had this conversation before. 25 moves us in the direction of being respectful to all people. That's why I filed it in the first place. That was denied, okay? 24 is, I'm stepping on your history. I don't care about you, and I got a lot more to say about that tonight if we're going to have that debate. Having said that, 24, we should just give it leave to withdraw or
Is
take
that a
or
motion?
motion to
I'll
give it leave
second
to
that.
withdraw, or let's just take a vote. Nothing's going to change at ordinance.
I'll second the motion to.
So there was a motion on the floor to, I thought Counselor Givner made a motion on the floor to
She did.
refer back to committee. So we're going to vote on that first. Is that?
Well, in fairness, I made an
Sure.
amendment to give it leave to withdraw, which
Okay.
my amendment to her main motion.
Okay, so you gave an amendment to,
Yeah, you have to take the second one first.
got it. Thank you.
That's just thank you. Okay.
Yes. All right, so we'll vote, more discussion. Go for it, Counselor
Yeah,
Rivera.
discussion. So again, we're here and there's posturing and all the other stuff because it's election season once again. For me, and it's important to make sure that everyone's being heard, and it's the reason why it's here again. I didn't want to take this up to be divisive. I don't file orders intentionally to be divisive. It's crazy that it gets brought up that way, but there are orders that are literally that do that, right? The intention is to do that, but again, it is what it is. If we want to vote on it, let's let's do it. I don't care. Like, that's not the idea. Like, no one is playing games here. I'm literally was going through the process of what orders are in my jacket and addressing the orders that are in the jacket. If people feel some type of way about that, then I'm sorry, but this is the due process, right? Is this not the democratic process? Because it's not sounding that way again. It's sounding like certain people are just screaming louder than others and feel like they're very vocal over a topic that we could just vote on it if that's the case. I only said to table it or send it back to committee so that we don't get into this.
Yeah.
Which we still got into anyways. So like ultimately, it's up to you guys. If you guys want to go ahead and vote on it, then do the vote. If you want to leave to withdraw and we continue the fighting, because you're not going to get the votes either to leave to withdraw. So like whichever one you want to do, we're here for it, right? I guess. But
guys,
just want to make sure that it's known that like it's the intention was never to be divisive. I'm ordinance chair now. It was never taken up before in the whole 3 years or 4 years that it was there. I've only been ordinance chair about 2 years now, so I'm cleaning out certain things that were not taken up then. It is what it is, and I don't hide from any of it. I bring it forward. I'm sorry if that's the case then, right? If you guys want to vote on it, then let's vote on it. I'm cool with that.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
No, I've got folks. I see you, Councilor Greeny. I have Councilor Givner, and then I have Councilor Greeny. And for the record, I'm so disappointed that this is even happening, and I'm disappointed that this is on the agenda because we have discussed this. We have much bigger fish to fry. I am Italian, folks, and listen. This is, but at the end of the day, this is not what we need to be spending our time on. So I'm going to call on Councilor Givner. I'm going to call on Councilor Greeny. It doesn't, if someone votes tonight a certain way, it also, I just want to remind people that this is a conversation that has happened so many times. And however people vote, you do what you want. But like, let's just, I hear a lot of side conversations and comments under your breath. We're all doing good. I don't get to do that, so please don't do that either. Councilor Givner and then Councilor Greeny.
Thank you, Madam President. I made the motion to avoid all this conversation, just for the record. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Greeny.
There was no intent here that I can see, but it is a divisive issue. And if we're champions of DEI, which we're supposed to be, this should be given leave to withdraw. Thank you.
Councilor McGrath-Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. So this is my fault, to be clear, because we were in ordinance.
Thank you.
It is all my fault. But it's also because, again, sometimes, first off, wow, tensions are really crazy high on this issue. And I will be honest with you, because this is way before my time. Sometimes I think folks think things are happening. I had no idea that this was going to be this kind of flashpoint. And all of you sort of remember these conversations that have happened before. Maybe people said certain things, or they made certain arguments. Maybe you assume that those, or you're attributing the same arguments to someone like me, who is open to talking about whether or not we should rename this holiday. But the goal was not to try to get everyone at their throats. I'm a school teacher. I talk about this stuff with my students all the time, and the room does not feel like this. It's an honest conversation about some messy history. And I apologize for bringing my teacher self to my life, but it is what I do for a profession. But this wasn't to be divisive. It's because this is something that my students talk about all the time. And it, in a very diverse room, where there's a lot of different identities and histories and ethnicities. So I just didn't expect, honestly, that this is how we would approach this issue. I asked Councilor Rivera earlier today if he would send it back to committee, because there was very little conversation that happened in ordinance. It came up, and folks said, well, are we going to give it to leave to withdraw? And I was sort of aghast, like, wow, this still seems like an important issue. Why would we give it a leave to withdraw? Clearly, it was important enough that there were 2 orders that were left in the jacket at one point. Why not take it up? Let's have a discussion. There was not really a will, if I'm to be honest, for there to be a discussion in the committee. It was like, well, let's just move it to council. That's not even what I expected to happen. I thought we would have a conversation. That's not what happened. It just sort of immediately became flashpoints and arguments. That was not what I was attempting to do. That's why I called Councilor Rivera earlier today and I said, respectfully, this is not what I understood was going to happen as a result of this. Can we send it back to committee so we can have an actual conversation? Maybe one of these makes more sense than the other. Maybe there's a different solution that I'm not seeing. Again, I was not aware of the previous conversations. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Jordan.
Yeah, Madam President, and also I want to also defend the chairman because, in fairness to him, he had made the motion to give them both leave to withdraw. So, and I believe that was also the law department's recommendation. So I don't want Izzy to take the hit on this one. He doesn't deserve it. And I want to appreciate perhaps people on the history of it, but extremely controversial issue. By way of full disclosure, I'm a 4th-degree member of the Knights of Columbus. It's the highest order in the Knights of Columbus. We have a council here in the city of Holyoke on Westfield Road. I'll also say my wife happens to be Italian too, but that's only 2 pieces of it. This is just really, really bad. It's as bad as it. I've seen a lot of things come through here, seen a lot of eyebrow-raising proposals. It is not okay to stampede over other people's history, okay? This is a free country. People can celebrate Christmas. They don't have to celebrate Christmas. That's a holiday. You can celebrate Thanksgiving. You don't want to celebrate Thanksgiving. People have arguments. The Pilgrims did this, and the Indians did that, and there's all these. A lot of people have their opinions. Fine. So we live in a pluralistic society. Same with Columbus. You can celebrate Columbus Day. You cannot celebrate Columbus Day. But to come in and see this person character assassinated, when for many of us, it's just so unfair. It is so untrue. There has been so many historians that have talked about this, but it really transcends way beyond Columbus. It is an attack against Christianity, is an attack against the Catholic Church, who this person is one of the great heroes of the faith who brought Christianity to the Western Hemisphere. The whole sole purpose of this voyage was to bring Christianity to the West, unknowing that the West even existed at the time. It's almost the equivalent of exploring outer space and not even knowing where the planet is, and brought all of the beautiful culture of Spain to the Western Hemisphere. And of course, we already know that even to this day, this culture, every day, people are speaking Spanish. Thank Christopher Columbus for that. So when we talk about celebrating diversity, that means cultures you don't like, too. That means we live in a pluralistic society of everybody, and we all have our own cultural identities. And to bring in an item like this, which is, people are smart people in this room. You should know, if you don't, that to do a thing like this is an attack against Columbus, who he represents, the people he represents, the history and culture that he represents. This is a federal holiday, a state holiday, a Holyoke holiday, has been for many years. And oh, by the way, it happens to be a holiday too in Puerto Rico too, by the way. I would note that for the record. And it's also celebrated as Dia de la Raza too, also on that holiday. In fact, I think it's true that the largest statue to Christopher Columbus in the Western Hemisphere actually is in Puerto Rico, just for a little noteworthy factoid. I could go on all night on these things, but I really feel 24, I would encourage 7 people to vote to give that leave to withdraw. And then if you want to have the conversation on 25 and how do we work this out, I get it. There's some people that don't want to celebrate Columbus Day. That's perfectly fine. I've been open to having, in fact, the United Nations on August 9th has an International Indigenous Peoples Day on August 9th, celebrated around the world. In fact, the Massachusetts legislature is even considering creating that for Massachusetts. So perhaps that's an answer. Maybe we have August 9th be Indigenous Peoples Day. That could be a possibility. There's a lot of options here on the table to recognize the important contributions of Indigenous peoples. So I would encourage that. I would ask that you do that, and then we take it from there. Thank you.
Okey doke. Counselor Bacon?
I'll be brief. I just want to note that I did attempt in committee to say this was a very divisive issue, but I was steamrolled, so here we are.
All right,
On the motion.
Counselor Greeny.
Just quickly, Counselor Jordain's historical perspective is accurate. The largest statue in the Western Hemisphere of Christopher Columbus is in Arecibo, Puerto Rico. And it is celebrated in that vicinity as well. So there's divisive issues in Puerto Rico, there's divisive issues in America, there's divisive issues everywhere. I don't think we should be a part of it. I think that we should just go about our business and do the business of Holyoke. Thank you.
Okay. And I just want to remind folks that no matter how everyone votes tonight, it doesn't mean that you love Christopher Columbus or you hate him. It's you're voting on whether or not something is being given leave to withdraw. That is what is before us. That is the motion that was made, is if something is being if 24 is being given leave to withdraw. So on the motion, the motion was to give leave to withdraw. Sorry. It's really hot up here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Sounds like it's going to be given leave to withdraw. 25.
Return to committee.
Second.
Wait, I thought it just got voted in favor of giving leave to withdraw?
24.
Mr. 24.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry. I haven't read 25 yet. That's why I was thrown off.
So you said number 25, so I was ready for you.
No, I got you. All right, we're moving along. 25 is the Committee on Ordinance, to whom is referred an order that Columbus Day holiday ordinance be changed so the holiday be known as both Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day, so everyone may celebrate both. Recommended that the order be denied, but it was just recommended to send back to committee. Sorry, I was just like on a roll reading there. So recommended that the order be sent back to committee. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Honestly, I thought that was going to take longer, so way to go.
She has a time.
Howie, come on, Howie. It's going to be great. Okay. Item 26 is the Committee on Ordinance, to whom is referred an order that a handicap application from Yolanda Velasquez for a handicap sign at 120 Oak Street, number 1. Recommended that the order be adopted. Counselor Rivera.
Wow. 26.
Item 26.
Yeah, item 26 is handicap application. They came in, they presented, and they got approved for Yolanda Vasquez, and we recommend as a committee for the order to be adopted. So, do a motion to pass the first reading?
Second.
Okay.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion that the order be ordained.
Second.
Or the passage be ordained.
Motion that the passage be ordained. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you are voting to approve the item 26.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan, Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley, Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
11 yeas, unanimous vote.
Okay, with that, you've passed 26. 27 is the Committee on Ordinance, in order that the committee review the draft telecommunication ordinance changes. This is being filed on behalf of a constituent request. Recommended that the order has been complied with. Counselor Rivera.
Committee on Ordinance too. This is an older one. Cleaning out the jacket. I believe, I don't remember, recall the lady's name. Councilor Bacon probably does, but she came in and had a whole presentation around some of the telecommunications stuff. This was an order filed, I believe, by Councilor McGee a while back. But to my understanding, a lot of what was presented then, and we actually created an ordinance that can't overstep certain boundaries around the FCC, is my understanding as well. But we try to, as much as we can, create certain barriers to the limited ability that we have. And I think one of them is if someone wants to put a new telecommunication tower up, they'd have to at least through the city register it and let people know where it's going to be at. But I think Councilor Baker has a better understanding for that one because we did that order while she was the chair on ordinance.
Thanks.
But yeah, go ahead.
Councilor Bacon.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, Kirsten Beatty is a constituent who was very involved in this particular issue, and the concerns were really related around health matters, but as is a very odd federal reg, we cannot establish a local ordinance to address health concerns relative to this. So we did the best that we could to put in safety factors into the ordinance and to have insurance language. It doesn't meet the highest bar, but we tried to do as much as we could. It's not perfect, and if things change, we could always readdress it, but we did do a pretty thorough review and update it at the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor. And thank you both, you all, for your work on that. Anyone else? Okay, so
we recommended that the order had been complied with.
Perfect.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Councilor, would you like to take
I think we could do 28 and 29 as a package because they were both given leave to withdraw.
Actually, 28 to 31 is actually given.
Oh, so yeah, let's do that.
Trying to.
With you guys.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take items 28 through 31 as a package. Let me just read them into the record. I'll do the abbreviated versions if everyone's okay with that. 28 was that the city create a housing committee tasked with creating policy suggestions, and 29 was the committee that was referred in order that we add a grant manager position to oversee, streamline, and expand our grant applications. 30 is an order that legal review the Boston Cannabis Equity Program and draft similar language. And 31 is an order that we allow for overnight parking on city parking lots for people to sleep in their cars. Each 28 through 31 has each been given leave to withdraw. Councilor Rivera.
Yes. So again, we actually had a little bit of free time at one of the last meetings, not this meeting, the one before. And I say free time, meaning that we were able to take up other things other than modern the Municipal Act thing. So I was able to address 28, 29, 30, and 31, 28, and I believe 28 was filed by Councilor Maldonado Velez at the time. This is something he was passionate about. I also am passionate about, but at the moment, I don't have the actual bandwidth to kind of carry forward with this. This is something that later on I could possibly follow up and file again to go through the process when we have more time, because I think there's priority with regards to what we're taking up now around the treasurer and collector stuff. But so the committee voted unanimously to give it leave to withdraw. Not to say that it's not important, it's just that right now we have other matters that are pending for us. And then 29 was a grant manager position to oversee, streamline, and expand our grant applications and money for our city. This is one that I believe I had filed a while ago, and it was a position to be out of the mayor's office specifically. But my understanding that there is grant managers in different departments. my goal in filing one was to try to have everyone work unanimously together, so that way that there's an understanding of what's coming in and what's going out, and at the end of the day, the city can actually be reimbursed for certain funds that should be grant funded specifically. But again, this was something that I filed, I think, in 2022, 2023-ish. So for now, I was okay with giving it leave to withdraw, and the committee voted unanimously for that. The number 30 was for the Boston Cannabis Equity Program, and this was one that was run specifically on community impact funds. But being that community impact funds are kind of like no longer a thing for us, or at least that's not the direction we're moving with them until we find out what litigation is going to look like. I've found, it makes more sense to take a different approach, and the committee agreed to give it leave to withdraw as well. And then 31 is overnight parking in city parking lots and allowing for people to be able to sleep in their cars. This was filed by Councilor Jose Maldonado Velez. I guess there is a rule or an ordinance that you can't sleep in your car, but at the same time, we don't actually have a traffic squad that would be able to kind of enforce that anyways. So ideally, it made sense to give it leave to withdraw until we actually have the manpower or the capacity to debate on whether or not we could do something like this. Yeah, that's 28 to 31.
Thank you, Counselor. Anyone else want to add anything? All right, I appreciate it. So on the motion to suspend the rules, take up items 28 through 31 as a package and give leave to withdraw, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. 32 and 33, I'm going to ask Counselor Jordan to come on up and fill in for me, as I do still have a conflict of interest as it relates to voting on cannabis special permits. So I will leave you in good hands. I have a pen here for you if that's helpful. And the orders are there.
Beautiful, thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
All right, so item 32 is a report from the Committee on Ordinance, to whom was referred a special permit application of the Mass Cannabis Growers Cooperative LLC at 1 Cabot Street for a permit for a marijuana cultivation facility. Recommend that the special permit be granted with the following conditions. Number 1, that the owner of the building always pay the commercial property tax rate to the extent allowed by federal, state, and local laws for the duration of the special permit. Number 2, that the business retain a minimum of 30% Holyoke residents for non-security jobs. Number 3, that the hiring preference be given to security personnel that are retired Holyoke police or a retired member of another police department that now lives in the city of Holyoke. Number 4, that there shall be no marijuana consumption allowed on the site. Number 5, that the hours of operation be set according to city ordinances. Number 6, that the applicant must abide by Massachusetts general laws and guidances for the Cannabis Control Commission. Number 7, that the petitioner/applicant shall conform with city and state health laws, rules, and regulations, including odor nuisance controls for the duration of the permit. Number 8, that if substantial progress has not occurred within 2 hours of the 2 years, of the issuance of the special permit, an extension shall be required. Number 9, that the applicant must have the police department's approval letter prior to the applicant beginning operations. And this was approved by Councilors Rivera, Vacan, McGrath-Smith, and Councilor Jenny Rivera as well. I recognize the chairman, Councilor Israel Rivera.
Yes, thank you, Interim President. So for the time being, could we entertain a motion to take up 33 as a package with 32?
Second.
Sure. Motion has been made and seconded to take item 33 as a package. Is there any discussion of that item? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, let me now read item number 33. Item number 33 is also a report from the Committee on Ordinance, to whom was referred a special permit application amendment of Blue Fox Brands, Inc. at 1 Cabot Street, a marijuana manufacturing facility adding a C1D1 extraction booth. Recommend that the special permit be granted with all previous conditions, plus the applicant receive a permit from the fire department prior to the applicant beginning operations, and this was recommended for approval by Councilor Israel Rivera, Councilor Vacan, Councilor McGrath Smith, and Councilor Jenny Rivera.
So thank you. So yesterday we had them all in an ordinance. They came in, and then my understanding with Mass Cannabis Growers Cooperative, these are two different entities, but Mass Cannabis Growers Cooperative or Co-op, the idea is that they have a co-op where others can kind of buy into the business, and they will be growing only, is my understanding, and they will be selling what they are growing to local vendors throughout the communities that have cannabis. Ideally, this was, my understanding, this was a purchase of a former space that had already gotten approved. So we went through, they kind of had to go through the process all over again to make sure that because it's considered a new application. And we've added all the particular stipulations, and 9 is the newer one, mostly because of they didn't have the police department approval letter, but we did get an email from, I believe it was Sergeant Reardon when the meeting ended, stating that they approve it. They just have to get the letter to us in a sense. But for the most part, everything went through. Everyone voted for it unanimously. There were some questions that the planning department had, particular to their permits or their application actually. And throughout the meeting, Ezra is his name. He was able to address a lot of the issues that were brought up in the planning department. The other one with Blue Fox Brands, technically it's just adding a C1D1 extraction booth. To my understanding, there's a section of the space that they're going to have, I believe, specific chemicals. I don't have them off the top of my head. I don't want to be incorrect and say the wrong words. But these chemicals allow for them to do the extraction, and what they need, which was confusing to me at the moment, according to the fire department, they needed permission, or they needed the actual permit for the fire department to go in and do their steps of the inspections. So we gave them approval with condition of the fire department actually approving the operations once everything went into process. So that is the added condition to all the other conditions that they had before, because they had come to the committee to get the actual first special permit in the first place. But we've voted unanimously for both of them, and that's pretty much it, unless there's any other questions.
And your motion is to adopt the committee
motion.
report for both of 32 and 33.
Yes, motion to adopt the committee.
And there's a second on the floor for that. Any other discussion, councilors? Okay, hearing none, the clerk will call the roll. A yes vote is in favor of adopting the committee report and approving the special permits for both 32 and 33 with all conditions that were articulated earlier. The clerk will call the roll, please.
McGrath Smith?
Yes.
Ocasio?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera? Sullivan?
Out of the room.
Bacon?
Yes.
Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Bartley?
Yes.
Devine?
Yes.
Givner?
Yes.
Greeny?
No.
Jordan?
Yes.
9 yeas, 1 nay, 1 abstain.
Okay, by your vote, you've approved those two special permits, and we welcome back our real president back to the podium. And the impersonator will.
No. It's an interim. It's not impersonating. It's different.
I like that. Thank you, Councilor Jordan. I appreciate it. Isn't it like 15 degrees hotter up here, though, Councilor? You like that?
Yeah, that's a nice addition. Didn't have that when I used to be up there. All right, that's a great upgrade.
Thank you so much. It's all about the vibe. All right. 34. Another one. Let's see. Wait, I'm looking at my different agenda because now it has
So we're at 35.
not awaiting disposition. It remained in committee.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey. 35 was the Committee on Ordinance, to whom was referred an order that we consider crafting an ordinance stipulating requirements for expenditure of funds of the police special events line and requirements. Recommended that the order be adopted. Councilor Rivera.
Yes, this was an order filed almost like 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, by then Councilor Puello, just requesting that things get itemized when they're spent out of the special police budget, special event a line item out of the police budget. The language is here. It was put forward. It was voted 4-1. I was the sole vote that voted against it, not because I don't respect the merit of the intention of the order. It's just I feel like it's it's like it's different than what other line items have within the police budget. But that's just my own personal thing. So with that being said, yes, we recommended that the order be adopted.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to pass the first reading.
Second.
So the motion was made and seconded to pass the first reading. Under discussion, Councilor McGrath-Smith, was that your hand up?
I was just ready to say aye.
Oh, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion that the passage be ordained.
Motion that the passage be ordained. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you are voting to adopt item 35.
McGrath-Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Pasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Hartley,
Yes.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Okay, with that,
God will.
you have approved 35. 36 and 37 remained, and 38 remained in committee. 39 is the ordinance committee, to whom was referred an order that Schedule B, compensation for elected officials of Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances, be amended as follows. City clerk, 90,000. Recommended that the order be adopted. Councilor Rivera.
Yes, so we took this up last meeting and the meeting before. This is mostly around just bringing up the city clerk's salary up. And no disrespect, I'm not saying it in a way we're downplaying it, hopefully. It's bringing up the salary of the city clerk up to $90,000. And ideally, it's just trying to match what other local communities are doing right now, or what they're giving out. And it's been quite some time since I say she because she's the one in the role now, but the position itself has had a potential raise. My understanding is like 12 to 13 years. There are different mechanisms played within that time frame, but it's not, to my understanding, it wasn't an actual raise per se. But we voted, I believe it was 3-1 or 4-1? 3-2 to come out of committee for the order to be adopted. Motion to pass the first reading, I guess, unless there's any questions.
Second.
We can do either way.
Okay.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass the first reading. Under discussion, Councilor Bartley?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a friendly amendment to change the city clerk's salary, because I filed this order, and it was a good discussion. So my amendment is going to be to amend the 90,000 to 88,000.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to amend the order to read 88,000 from 90,000. Motion's been made and seconded. Under discussion,
Yeah,
Councilor
thank you.
Bartley?
I've had a chance to talk to all parties involved. I've had a chance to talk to fellow councilors. This requires a 2/3 vote. In my opinion, I don't know if we can get there at 2/3 when it's 90,000. I said last night, or whatever night said, they're all running in together. I can't remember the nights anymore. But the last meeting where I remember this came up, I said on the microphone that I wanted this to be as unanimous as possible. Brenda's our friend. She does a great job. There have been raises. There are 2 separate stipends too. So that when the package is all over with, her salary's over, because amending it from the clerk of the city council, and then her position with the elections board. In my opinion, giving a $3,000 raise is not it's a reflection on Brenna's doing a great job, and it's going to be instituted as of January 1st. Somehow the conversation got twisted. When we originally took it up, it was going to be taken up July 1st, which has never been the case, but but tempers flared that night, and but cooler has prevailed ultimately, and it looks like everybody's on board for January 1st, which is the tradition in the city. The other thing is, of course, the clerk has opportunities to amend the ultimate salary with an adjustment to this role, especially when you're clerk of the city council. As the clerk mentioned, that has not been adjusted in decades. Just like our salaries haven't been adjusted in decades, and whatever, I'm not saying anything about that. But so there are amendments to do that. I think leaving it at a $3,000 pay bump for the next 4 years does a few things. One, it recognizes the good work of Brenna. Second off, it makes sure she has a raise. Third off, it doesn't preclude any type of other adjustments and other salary stipends that the clerk has. So, and fourthly, most important of all, to me at least, is that we can get this passed with a unanimous or near unanimous vote, because in speaking to councilors, they want to get behind this and they want to support Brenna. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Bartley. Councilor Devine.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. Councilor Rivera, you said it was a 3-2 vote. Could you tell us who that vote was?
Madam President, this is.
I have a right.
Wait, hold up. Come on, guys. It's okay. We don't have to yell.
Well, this is so.
Councilor Bartley, please hold on 1 second. It's. First of all, I don't even get a second to respond before you guys are yelling at each other.
I'm not yelling.
Well, you both were yelling, to be fair. It's okay. It happens. I yell too. But Councilor Devine asked a question. I did not get a chance to respond. I don't really know. It'll take you 2 seconds to answer it if you know it. If you don't.
There's two things, 2 seconds that I answered, right? I guess it was 3-2. Myself, Jenny Rivera, and Meg voted yes. 2, Bartley and Vacan voted no, and Bartley voted no because it was a package. Had it not been a package, he would have voted yes. But to be fair, when and not just comparing, but like when Councilor Jourdain was interim for the quick second, he actually said who voted what and where. So I don't see how that's out of order. Just asking the question.
If that's something that folks want me to do,
I'm not saying that's what I want.
No, it's okay.
I'm just trying to clarify how it's out of order.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of order, so that's why I gave you the opportunity to respond.
Thank you.
Okay.
Also, Madam Chairman.
Hold on 1 second,
I'm
Councilor
sorry.
Graney. Councilor Devine has the floor. Thank you.
I agree that the city clerk gets stipends, but those aren't wage increases. The $5,000 would be a wage increase, and my understanding is that city clerk, this would be her second raise in 12 years. And the stipends don't necessarily have to stay there all the time, but they are not wage increases. So I vote to give her the $5,000 in a wage increase, which was originally ordered.
Thank you. Councilor Graney?
Madam Chair, can we vote on the first motion, please?
Sure, we can vote on the first motion.
Which was amended to 88,000.
I know, I have a note here. Thank you for your help, though. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Councilor Rivera, you have your hand up?
Yes, just only to speak to the fact that, again, I'll go back to the discourse and reiterate, when we have meetings, it'd be nice for others to be there, and there isn't, like was said before, backdoor meetings, right, where people are having different conversations than we were having in the actual meeting. So it's interesting to me that we come to this meeting and everything changes in that particular meeting. So like if we're on a committee and we're working together, it would behoove us to at least keep to what we're talking about, at least to a certain extent. I know I'm not the best at it, but like I'm new to this, and it's crazy to me that it's coming from senior counselors. But I appreciate you recognizing me and allowing to talk. Thank you.
All right, on the motion, and as Councilor Graney mentioned, the motion was amended to 88,000. So that's what we're going to vote on first. Is this ironically okay? So we did the motion to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So this motion to pass the first reading again because it's a new number.
No, we just did motion to pass the first reading.
But on 90,000.
No, 88.
No, it was on 88 because I just announced that it was amended.
Oh, okay, because it was amended. All right. So then motion to pass the second reading.
Second.
Motion to pass the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion that the passage be ordained.
Second.
And yes, Councilor Jordan.
Just a brief question. We did fix it in the ordinance. It says January 1st, 2026.
I believe that was addressed.
So
Councilor Rivera.
Yeah. So that's all hoopla. Don't believe the hype.
It was never. It was never
July.
said.
It was never. July.
I made one comment
Never.
about how I was hoping
Never
we could
July,
vote on
bro.
this before
Trust and
July
believe.
1st.
Like,
It was me,
it was
once
hoopla.
again. It's all good.
You know, we get
But there was
motivated.
never anything in writing that said July 1st.
Never.
Sorry I brought it up.
Yeah.
Me too.
No.
Me too. This
You
is
weren't the
why I
only
shouldn't
one.
really participate in committee meetings because I make everyone a little upset. So,
All good.
okay. So this is for 88,000
In January.
in January
Or
of
Brenna.
2026 for the city clerk,
City clerk, who happens to be Brenna.
who happens to be Brenna.
Right. Happens to be sitting
And our city clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the amended. What, Jeffrey? Always giving me that look. Yes.
The ordinance language does say shall take effect upon its passage.
Ooh, so.
But
How about we just be crystal clear that I'll make a friendly amendment that instead of effective immediately, it's January 1st, 2026.
effective January 1st, 2026, after its passage, right? Or just that? Is that
Just
what you
that
said?
date.
Okay, January 1st, 2026.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
what everybody meant anyway.
I believe so, yes. Okay?
McGrath Smith.
Yes.
Murphy Bloody.
Yes.
Ocasio.
Yes.
Israel Rivera.
Yes.
Jenny Rivera.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Devine.
Reluctantly, yes.
Givner.
Yes.
Graney.
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
Unanimous vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. It is hot up here, party people.
Gotta get two fans.
No, it's okay. I think it's just the meaty agenda. It's fine. Everything's great.
Some water?
No, I got water, but thank you. All right, so then we had 40 is the Committee on Ordinance, to whom is referred an order that the Honorable City Council add a section to the Hoyoke Code of Ordinances titled Human Relations. Recommended that the order be given a leave to withdraw. Councilor Rivera.
This was an order I filed 3 years ago. I'll file it again. I just had to clean out the jacket for the time being, but I'll put it up for the next council meeting.
Love to hear it. So the motion to give leave to withdraw.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And we did, 41 was already taken out of order and laid on the table. 42 remained in committee. Wow, way to go, ordinance. Thank you for all those updates. All right, moving on to our friends in finance. 43 is the Committee on Finance, to whom was referred an order that there be appropriated a transfer of 12 million.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. $12,759,860 from health insurance to dental insurance trust.
Make a motion to receive and adopt the committee report and pass the second reading.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass the committee report and pass the second reading. Counselor Devine.
Yeah, this is now we have a trust, and this was created through the law department. The language was to establish the trust, and we now have a relationship which we've had with Dowd Insurance and their staff, and they've provided to the trust any information that they should need. So that's why the transfer has to be there, according to the city auditor.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion or comments? Okay, on the motion to pass the second reading, the clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting in favor of adopting the transfer request.
McGrath Smith.
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti.
Yes.
Ocasio.
Yes.
Israel Rivera.
Yes.
Jenny Rivera.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Devine.
Yes.
Givner.
Yes.
Graney.
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Okay. That you have passed 43. Moving on to 44, we have the Committee on Finance, to whom was referred an order that the City Council accept the provisions of the Mass Cultural Council Cultural District Investment Grant, $15,000, no match. Recommended that the order be adopted. Counselor Devine?
Motion to receive and adopt the committee report and pass the second reading.
Motion's been made and seconded to receive and adopt the committee report and pass the second reading.
And this
Counselor
is
Devine?
for $15,000, no match. And what it is here's a letter from the Mass Cultural Council. We are pleased to inform you that the City of Holyoke for Holyoke Puerto Rican Cultural District has been approved for the Cultural District Investment Grant of $15,000 from the Mass Cultural Council. Thanks to vigorous advocacy from the cultural sector, the legislature once again showed strong bipartisan support for the cultural district. And what this is, one of the things they would like to do, their team would like to go to Puerto Rico and bring some artifacts back from a museum so that people from Puerto Rico who may not get there to see these artifacts, they'll be able to put them on display.
Thank you. Is there any other comments or discussion? Counselor Rivera?
Real quick, do they send them back after?
I didn't get that answer.
'Cause that
I don't think
is a
so.
concern, but
And nobody asked that question.
yeah. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, Counselor Givner?
Thank you, Madam President. A lot of artifacts travel, so I mean, this might be something to get like traveling exhibits to come through Holyoke. That's what I would imagine.
Anyone else? Okay, on the motion to pass the second reading, the clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting to adopt or accept the grant 44.
McGrath Smith.
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti.
Yes.
Ocasio.
Yes.
Israel Rivera.
Yes.
Jenny Rivera.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Devine.
Yep.
Givner.
Yes.
Graney.
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Okay, with that, you have approved 44. Item 45. Thanks, Finance. We're moving on to DGR. 45 is the Committee on Development and Government Relations, in order that the City Council explore with the mayor a residential redevelopment plan for city-owned vacant parcels, has homes built, then sold. Recommended that the order has been complied with. Counselor Givner.
Thank you, Madam President. So this did not come up in the last meeting because it was taken out of the laid on the table part of the DGR jacket, so it just didn't make it to the last meeting. There wasn't much discussion about it other than it had been in committee for a while, and Councilor Jordan was fine with it being complied with. So the idea was that if he wanted to revisit this, he could in the future with a new order.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So on the motion that the order has been complied with, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 46 is Development Government Relations, to whom was referred an order to declare parcel on East Hampton Road as surplus property and sell to the Massachusetts Department of Fish and Game. Recommended that the order be given a leave to withdraw. Counselor Givner.
Thank you, Madam President. This order was similar. It had been in the jacket for some time. It was first tabled in December of 2023. And it was also felt that if the maker of the order would like to put it back out there, they could refile this order. So we recommended leave to withdraw.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to Charter and Rules. 47 is the Committee on Charter and Rules, to whom was referred an order that the City Council adopt the attached special act to remove future fire chiefs from civil service for the purpose of preserving the long-standing residency requirement for our fire chief as embodied in our ordinances. It will also allow the fire department to select external candidates and make the selection process comparable to the police chief. Recommended that the order be adopted. Councilor McGrath-Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. This was taken up as an order that was originally sent from Kevin Jourdain. We were able to meet with, in attendance, Kelly Curran, our, HR director, as well as 2 members of the Fire Commission, George Meddy and Jeffrey Trask. All of whom spoke highly of this concept of removing this position from civil service and giving them more flexibility in being able to hire the right person for the job and also make sure that there was a residency requirement. It was a unanimous vote to send it to the full council for adoption.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Devine, and then Councilor Jourdain.
Yeah, since that vote was taken last night, I think it was last night, a lot
Last
of
week.
information
Feels like a lifetime ago, but it was last
has
week.
occurred that I think needs to be shared. So I would make a motion that we table this so that we can have different people in, such as the fire chief, such as the delegation from the state.
Second.
Thank you. And that the commissioners, I'm sorry, they're wrong if they think that by giving up residency and civil service, that they're not going to have to, that they're going to have a say. Once they do that, they can't have a say with the mayor. The mayor is in charge of that. So that's why I think it should go back to committee and we can talk about it. And at least, the very least, is to invite the chief in. So, and there's also some union language that I think people need to know about as far as deputy chiefs and civil service. So that's why I think we should send it back.
Okay, so the motion was made and seconded to send this back to committee, but we're going to keep, I have Councilor Jourdain and then Councilor McGrath-Smith.
Okay.
Councilor Jourdain.
Thank you, Madam President. So a couple things, and I know the maker of that motion herself spoke in favor of doing this. At the committee, we had a very extensive meeting. We heard from a number of people. By the way, the law department has been supportive of this. Personnel is supportive. The fire commission is supportive of this. Yes, obviously, I could see why the fire chief would be opposed, but we grandfather the current fire chief, so he's not going to lose his civil service. This will be relative to future chiefs so that we're all crystal clear on this. This is called reform. This is classic reform. This is why this is long overdue. Quite frankly, I had kicked the tires on this 14 years ago and had it all drafted to do, and I pulled it back when we did the rewrite of the fire department residency rule. And it should be noted that at that time, we had a provision in the ordinance that's still current law that says that the fire chief will be a resident of the city of Holyoke. And heretofore, except for the current chief, every fire chief has always been a resident of Holyoke. They all have adhered to the residency rule, and apparently a present company apparently feels he does not. Even though, by the way, just for the record, I did ask him 3 years ago, and he mentioned that he would be moving in within a year. I did ask that specifically. So go back and play the tape, by the way. So anyways, I will also just say there's a number of reasons this idea is long overdue. One, we have a police chief selection process, which everybody marvels at. We think it's great. There's input from everybody on it. We ultimately, the mayor selects somebody. We have a contract. We're currently giving the fire chief a contract, but the terms of it are all going to be ultimately undermined by the civil service rule. And this will, and why the fire commission is so strongly in support of this, is because this is going to dramatically empower the fire commission and the mayor for that matter too. Because what they're going to be able to do is not select somebody solely based on, well, I'm 1 point higher than you, so then it takes an act of Congress to get around this. This is all about protecting the inner circle. This is all about limiting the candidate pool to just a couple of people who are deputy chiefs that go for the position. And now they're so bold that they're actually using it to try and defeat our residency rule. I'm surprised somebody didn't think of that one sooner. It's really disheartening. Everybody here takes an oath of office to uphold the ordinances, and it's really unfortunate that it's come to this. And then on the reverse side of it, we also should be concerned, as I'm sure the fire commission is concerned, that if they have to deal with a termination or discipline of a future fire chief, that they have to deal with civil service and opening up Pandora's box for your top management position. Let me be clear. We are not changing anything to do with civil service for any other position in the fire department other than fire chief. And we're not even touching the current fire chief. This is only for future fire chiefs because we didn't think it would be fair to affect the current incumbent. So this is an idea this should have been done ages ago. It's beyond the obvious. It's one, opening yourself up to external candidates. You can pick whomever the commission and the mayor feel through an interview process or a selection consultant, or however we've done it for police chief. We need to be doing the same for the fire chief. And we have a contract, we move forward. This is government reform 101. And this is why everybody has embraced it. But, now in the 11th hour, we had a meeting, it's publicly posted. Why didn't they come to the meeting if they were so concerned about it? To call up one counselor in the 11th hour before the meeting and try and send a torpedo through this thing after we had an extensive meeting with all involved? Why are we even having committee meetings, by the way? Because you have all this, we do all this work, we do all this prep, and then it's Pearl Harbor an hour before the meeting. Hello, what's the point of this process? By the way, I filed it. Everybody knows my number. Did any of those people call me? No. Did any of those people want to talk about my proposal? It's all publicly. It was filed on an agenda. It was sent to committee. The chairman called a hearing for it. We had a very nice at-length discussion. We had unanimous support in the room. Then all of a sudden, December 17th rolls around, and here we are, motion to table because there's new information from the current fire chief or the union. I can only imagine what arguments we're going to hear there. Don't do it. Don't do reform. We want our protections. We've heard all these arguments before. Can I have some new information, please? We already know these old, tired arguments of protect the inner circle, do what's good for us, and to hell with the public process. And we don't want we don't want an external candidate like a Brian Keenan coming in to possibly be selected by the fire commission and the mayor. Let's just have the good old boys, and we'll all get around and we'll pick one of ourselves. And oh, you got 1 point more? Ha ha, gotcha. You got to give me the job. And if you don't, I'll fight you in Boston and lawsuits and this and that. And God forbid you ever try to get rid of me. Guys, it's 2025 Holyoke. You know when this was passed originally? I think in 1911.
17.
Thank you, 1917. So while we're in the midst of World War I, do you think anything has changed in public life since 1917? I think so. So, you know, come on. Let's have some courage. Let's take some votes. Let's do the right thing. This is long overdue. We're doing this in the police department. Let's do it in the fire department as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Councilor McGrath-Smith and then Councilor Israel Rivera.
I'm set, thank you.
You're all set? Got it? Councilor Rivera?
Yeah, I just needed some clarification just on residency, if that still stays the same, because I heard a whole bunch of different things throughout the process. I wasn't able to attend. Unfortunately, I coach softball too, so I'm not able to come to every meeting. So residency requirements, and does the police still use civil service? And how different would that be? Because I don't necessarily agree with the process that's used for police in general, even though people are saying that they do. It's not necessarily a transparent process. This kind of seems like it is, other than some of the things that you just cited that I just recently learned of. But aside from that, having a commission that puts you together a beautiful annual report, right? I wish we got this from the police department too as well, since we're singing the praises. But just saying, some of this stuff makes sense to me across the board, but what are we losing? Because no one said that. There are some things that are being said, and I guess, you know what, it doesn't matter. We're just going to vote then. Go ahead.
I mean, okay, first of all, I think I'm just asking who that question was for. If Councilor Jordan wants to respond, I will give him the opportunity to. Councilor and
whoever, it's fine.
If I could just briefly answer the question, let's just so we're all crystal clear, the only position that's not civil service in the police department is chief. And that's the only position we're talking about here. There is zero change to anything other than fire chief. And it's not even for the current fire chief. This is for future fire chiefs. We ain't changing civil service. I am not advocating to change civil service for frontline firefighters or police, zero. But I'm making the point that the police chief is not civil service. The fire chief currently is civil service. And why that is rendering its head relative to the residency issue is there's apparently some new interpretations that apparently now claiming that because he's civil service, he doesn't have to live in Holyoke, and that he's subject to the residency rule that civil service allows, and therefore can live outside of Holyoke as long as he stays within 10 or 15 miles. And such as it is, this is the new du jour of the moment, and so therefore we're trying to close that loophole as well, thank you. And by eliminating it from civil service, he will come back to being subject, this position, to the city ordinances, just like the police chief. Thank you. Good questions.
Thank you.
Councilor Rivera, did you have anything else?
No.
Madam Chair?
I have Councilor Devine and then Councilor Graney.
I think at the beginning I said how I voted. You didn't have to remind people how I voted last night. I voted in favor of it, okay, until today. We should have had this information last night. There was only yourself, Ocasio, myself, McGrath-Smith, and Vacan were the only, and I don't think Sullivan was there. That was it. And I don't remember if
I was there.
And the commissioner was there.
And personnel was there.
Can I continue, please? And one of the questions I asked, and excuse me, Carmen, I should have said Councilor Carmen Ocasio. So
it's not just that, it's something else.
Hold on, Councilor Ocasio, I did not recognize you. Councilor Devine has the floor right now. Thank you. Councilor Devine, please continue and stay on track, please.
I'm trying. One of the things that I asked was, why did Chief Pond have to move into the city? Because it seemed logical to me that this fire chief should move into the city. The reason Chief Pond had to move into the city, because he had a contract that said he had to move into the city. This chief is specifically going under civil service. And that's why I think it's important that we get all the parties in so we get actual information that to make a good vote on. And that's why I'm saying send it, table it, and talk about it again. There's a lot more to this than just civil service.
Okay, I have Counselor Graney and then Counselor Ocasio.
I'll pass.
Okay, Counselor Ocasio?
The reason why I raised my hand was because Councilor Devine mentioned my name today, when yesterday I was sitting here through the whole meeting and I was not addressed. They did not say that I was at the city council yesterday. So why would you just bring my name up today? You know? So
Because you were at the committee.
So first of all, we talk through the chair.
I'm done.
Okay? Everyone, let's act like adults, please. We talk through the chair. We're doing great. I understand. Tensions are high. We're just gonna vote. The motion right now was amended from Counselor McGrath-Smith's initial to send back to committee. That's what got amended and seconded. So we're gonna vote on that first. Okay?
Fair enough.
I'm working my way backwards.
Yep.
Following the rules.
As you should.
Just trying to live.
Yep.
All right.
Doing good.
So, if you vote yes, you are voting to send item 47 back to committee. The clerk will call the roll.
McGrath-Smith,
Yes.
Murphy-Ramboletti,
No.
Casio,
no.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
No.
Bacon,
No.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
No.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
No.
Graney,
No.
Jordan.
No.
Five yeas, 8 nays.
Okay, so that did not get referred back to committee.
On adoption of the committee report.
Second.
Motion's been made to adopt the committee report. If you vote yes, you are voting to adopt item 47. The clerk will call the roll.
McGrath-Smith,
Yes.
Murphy-Ramboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Devine,
No.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
12 yeas, 1 nay.
Okay, with that, you've passed 47. 48 is, hold on. Oh, yeah. 48 is the Committee on Charter and Rules, to whom was referred an order that City Council Rule 4, sorry, I'm on 48, yeah. City Council Rule 4 is amended, adding the following sentence to the end of the first paragraph of Rule 4B about being notified by the clerk. Recommended that the order be adopted with amendments. Counselor McGrath-Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. We went back and forth with this one, and I will, even by myself, will admit that it's a little wordier than I would like, but we were attempting to really hear all of the needs here and make sure that we got it right. The language that we're asking the council to adopt today is to add the following at the end of 4B. So long as it is in writing to the clerk, any member may opt out of having his or her agenda sent via U.S. mail and instead may have the agenda sent via electronic mail. Personal delivery by the administrative assistant may occur in circumstances where consistent and timely mail delivery is problematic. Said decision shall remain in force until the clerk is otherwise notified in writing by the member. In writing to the clerk may include email communication.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on this item? Counselor Bartley.
This is my order, so I'm grateful it got worked out, and I appreciate the committee's good work.
Thank you.
We tried to do our best without you there.
You succeeded.
Anyone else? Okay, on the motion to adopt 48, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 49 is also Charter and Rules. Wait, Yes, that the city create an administrative and finance department. Said acceptance shall be subject to implementation by city ordinance and any necessary amendments to city charter. Recommended that the order be adopted. Counselor McGrath-Smith.
Thank you. Would it be possible to also take 50 and 51 together as a package with 49?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take items 49, 50, and 51 together as a package. So I just read 49. 50 is the committee referred an order that the city council adopt the attached substitute municipal modernization ordinance. And 51 is charter and rules, that the city amends any charter, ordinance, or other regulations relative to its tax collector to combine with the city treasurer. So 49 was recommended that the order be adopted. 50 was that the order has been complied with. And 51 is recommended that the order has been complied with and referred to ordinance. Councilor McGrath-Smith.
Thank you. The committee spent the bulk of its time in these orders. The first one, recommendation, the order be adopted. We walked through a number of charter changes that would need to occur in order to match the requests of the package that's an ordinance. So you have the language there. You have two versions there, or not two versions, but two different charter changes that need to occur. The first one initially suggested removing city treasurer and changing it to city clerk. After a conversation, we decided that it didn't make sense to change it from the role and just wanted to update it to treasurer/collector. And then for the second, the one where we are amending section 27, it was around making sure that we had it correct in terms of what happens in this process of what happens whenever the mayor is unable to perform the duties of the office. This is something that we talked about at length in terms of what did it mean in order to not perform the duties of the office, for how long.
I have no idea. Why don't you ask her?
Oh, okay. Everything all right? Okay.
He has a question. I said to ask the chairman.
Sure. Oh, it's fine.
Do you want to ask it now, Councilor
No, I'm
Sullivan?
just curious. Mine 49 refers to the Soldiers Memorial Committee.
Yes, because
should be a
right,
second page.
there's two pages and there's two different charter changes. The first one is about the Soldiers Memorial Commission because it names specifically in our charter that the city treasurer will be a member. Oftentimes, based on what the treasurer said, not necessarily a full member, but someone who operates as a member when the committee needs someone as a quorum, or someone for just their professional expertise can come in and can support them in whatever they need. But as a result, because of the name change, we had to actually go in and make sure that was updated. So kind of a small change, but needed to be done. And then same thing for 49, going in and naming that it doesn't make sense to have a position that is not elected be next in line if the mayor's unable to serve. And so instead, it made more sense to shift that to the city clerk and then to the council president. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Jordan?
Right. These are not controversial at all. These, no problem. But unfortunately, they're dominoes as part of the same row of dominoes that all need to go down at our next meeting in the package. So, because you can't do some without the other. So I'll make a motion to table 49, 50, and 51.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to table items 49, 50, and 51. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Look at that. As a friendly reminder, it's 9:37. And if it's not being voted on tonight, we will not discuss it tonight. Okay, friends? Thank you. We're doing so great. 52 is filed by myself, ordered that the Rule 1 of the City Council be suspended for the purpose of going on summer recess, and that the July 1st, July 15th, and August 29th, it says 2023, but it should be 2025.
You mean August 9th?
Motion to receive, adopt.
Receive and adopt, yep.
Second.
Motion to receive and adopt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's my birthday present from all of you to me, so thank you.
Was it-
July 4th is
Oh,
my
July
birthday.
4th, okay.
Yep.
Just
So-
Happy birthday.
Thanks, guys. 53 is filed by Councilor Ocasio, ordered that Parks and Rec replace the 2 picnic tables at the Arena Park on South Summer ASAP. Receive and send to Parks and Rec? Or what would you like?
It's on South Bridge, not South Summer.
Oh, okay, so we'll revise to say South Bridge Street?
Yes.
Okay. Send to Parks and Rec? Is that good for you? Send to Parks and Rec?
I had asked Park and Rec, before I send my order to, Brianna. Oh, my God.
DPW or Park?
They said that, DPW had, that.
So DPW?
So
Got it. So we'll send to receive and send to DPW. Okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 54 is filed by Councilor Ocasio, order that the city put a no parking sign in front of the old fire station building on Main Street.
Ordinance?
Go to ordinance.
That's ordinance.
I was gonna, okay, great. Send to ordinance, although, wait, is it?
The only thing I may say, Madam
Yes,
President,
Councilor
is
Jordan.
there, I believe, are signs, aren't they on the doors? Because they're not supposed to park anywhere in front of that area, because there's 3 bay doors, and you're not supposed to park there now. So I don't know if you need another ordinance. They need to enforce it. That's because you're right about parking on the sidewalk.
People are parking literally on the sidewalk.
So should it go to public safety?
Individuals are literally parking on the sidewalk.
Public
I think people are taking liberties because somebody put Jersey barriers in front because of the issues surrounding making sure nothing's coming in and out of the building that shouldn't be. So now people say, oh, look, there's Jersey barriers, so I'll just park in front of the Jersey barrier.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Do you guys want to discuss it in committee, or do you want it just sent to a department?
Go to public safety.
Councilor Rivera?
If I may, I agree with Councilor Vacan, and if anything, to take it in public safety, but because I don't think we can put somebody on somebody else's building too. That's the other part, right? The fire station, we don't own that building. It's owned.
So we'll send it to public safety for further discussion.
With a copy.
And if not, they can send it.
With a copy to who?
The police department?
The police
for
department.
enforcement?
Yeah.
Okay.
The
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 55 is filed by Councilor Ocasio, ordered that the DPW repaint the parking lines on South Summer Street. Sent to DPW?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 56 is filed by Councilor Ocasio, ordered that the city address concerns or come up with a plan to stop individuals from using their apartments as storage for mini motorcycles.
Public safety?
Are you okay with public safety? Okay.
Board of Health, sure. Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 57 is filed by Councilor Vacan. Order add solar lights to the stop sign and cut back brush to increase visibility of the stop sign at Keys and County Road.
Receive, adopt, and send to DPW, please.
Receive, adopt, and send to DPW. Councilor Jenny Rivera?
I think 57, and I just read it. It's a double.
Oh, 57 or 58.
61 is a dupe.
It's a duplicate, right?
61 is.
Yeah, 57 and 61.
But 51.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so
57,
57
yeah.
and 61 are the same?
Yes, but yeah, if we can just receive and adopt and send to DPW for 57.
Okay.
Please.
Receive, adopt, and send to DPW for 57. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 58 is filed by Councilor Vacan, an order to install a stop sign on Keys Road when approaching County Road.
Receive, adopt, and send to DPW, please.
Receive, adopt, and send to DPW. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 59 is filed by Councilors Bacon and Jordan. Order that the treasurer please send the city council an update on the certification of free cash. We are waiting the promised completion reconciliation.
Receive, adopt, send to the treasurer. He did give so far an update today. It's still not done. He's aspirational that it will be done though on time. So I'd say send this along and hopefully he'll give us the word when it actually is done. And there's
Yes.
only like 2 weeks left.
I trust that, yeah.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, for
Rory's-
sure.
I'm sure he'll.
Receive and send to treasurer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 60 is filed by Councilor Bacon. Order that the speed limit on Cypress and Sequoia be lowered to 15 or 20 mile an hour due to safety concerns, similar to Bemis.
So receive and send to DPW and the city engineer and ordinance committee with a copy to DPW and the city engineer to evaluate. Please.
Yep. So motion to send to ordinance with a copy to DPW and the city engineer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 61 filed by Councilor Bacon.
Motion to give leave to withdraw.
Motion to give leave to withdraw. It's a duplicate. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 62 filed by Councilor Anderson Burgos. Order that the city council issue proclamations to the headliners of this year's Pride Fest on June 21st. Mary Lambert, as well as RuPaul's Drag Race, current Drag Race All-Stars contestant Alyssa Hunter.
Receive and adopt with a roll call vote, please.
Second.
Motion to receive and adopt with a roll call vote. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you are voting to adopt item 62.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti.
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera.
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley, Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Rainey, Jordan.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you, everyone. 63 is ordered that the Public Safety Committee, filed by Councilor Devine, ordered that the Public Safety Committee meet with the police chief or designee as soon as possible to discuss and possibly regulate motorized scooters. Send to Public Safety.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 64 is filed by Councilor Devine.
You received and sent to finance?
Do you want to do
Second.
64, 65, 66,
67.
67,
7,
68.
68?
I think that's it.
So, motion to suspend the rules and take items 64 through 68.
Madam Chair?
Oh. Hold on. Councilor Graney?
For a brief reading.
Yeah, I will definitely do a brief reading. Our administrative assistant just brought up a good point. Do these die before the end of the fiscal year?
We do have a finance meeting next week, so presumably we're having a finance meeting mindful that we need an adoption.
And we also are probably certifying free cash on another night.
You're probably going to need another one.
So if there is a finance committee meeting scheduled for next year, next week, then
He might need close to the 30th on the other one.
we might have to vote on those on the 30th if they get taken up. This is going to be so fun. But we'll refer them to Finance. Councilor Devine?
There is a meeting on the 24th, and I'm happy to look at it, see what should be there, and Jeffrey and I can talk about it. But we are going to go past 10 o'clock. Just need to let you know that.
We indeed are.
Motion to suspend the rules to go past 10 o'clock for 15 minutes.
Motion has.
Tonight, the 24th.
Oh, the 24th.
Oh, 24th. Oh, I thought you were talking about tonight. I was like, where are we?
All right, so I'm going to do. Got it. I was also confused.
I think it's the 25th, isn't it, Finance?
There's one on 24th and 25th.
We have two Finance next week.
This is going to be fun. We're going to really enjoy ourselves, and then we're all going to take a break in July, and it'll be okay. So 64 is a transfer request from Councilor Devine for $3,075 from reference library assistant to custodian, finance manager, computer coordinator. 65 is filed by Councilor Devine that we accept the provisions of the DOE Energy Efficient CDBG No Match Grant. 66 is that the City Council accept the provisions of the fiscal year 25 Massachusetts Department of Fire Services Safe and Senior Safe Grant, $9,799.85. 67 is a transfer request of $24,000, hoisting operator to Fuel Depot. 68 is a transfer or an appropriation request for the amount of $1.5 million appropriated for the purpose of financing the demolition, remodeling, reconstruction, engineering, construction, equipping or re-equipping of various municipal facilities and purchase of municipal vehicles. That was it. Okay. Counselor Bacon?
Thank you. On item 68, can we request a detailed breakdown for that order when it goes to finance? Because there's a whole broad categories of things in it, if we could.
Sure. So we can get that message. These were recommended to refer to finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 69 was filed by Councilor Jordan. Order that the following charter change be adopted in section 39 relating to the city solicitor.
Table.
Motion to table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 70.
You received in table?
70, I was thinking of sending it to a committee.
Okay.
For a meeting.
Which committee would that be?
Ideally, finance or DGNR. One of the two, I think, would be good.
DGNR.
Okay. Motion
Councilor
to send it to-
Givner? Is that?
You
I
good
thought
with
that sounds right. Yeah.
Great.
All right, cool. DGNR, please.
So I'll just do an abbreviated version if everyone's okay with me doing that
By
for
all means.
70.
Yes.
70 is filed by Councilors Jordan and Bacon. Order that the following resolution of the City Council be adopted and a copy be transmitted to the Department of Homeland Security and our federal delegation and the White House. It shall also be used by all departments of the city, and it will declare that Holyoke's not a sanctuary city and adopt ordinance changes. And we will send this to Development and Government Relations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 71 is filed by Councilor Devine. It's for a transfer request of $2,074.96 from patrolman to post stipend chief.
You received and sent to finance?
Motion to receive and send to finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 72 is filed by Councilor Devine.
And
It's,
pass the second reading and pass it tonight. It's a.
we still have to do two readings, but, because this is the first reading, so, but I'll read it into the record first. Filed by Councilor Devine, ordered that there be a transfer of $353,221.95 from patrolman to injured on duty. So that, Councilor Devine, your motion was to pass the first reading?
Yes.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Second.
Motion to pass the second reading. Is there any other discussion?
How about, what is this? And this will set the Guinness Book of
Wait,
World
Councilor
Records.
Jordan, I didn't
I
call on you yet.
apologize.
It's okay. I get it. Councilor Jordan.
Thank you, Madam President. What is this, and why is it 353,200? I mean, I've seen 10 grand, I've seen 9 grand, I've seen maybe 15 grand. I've never seen 353 grand. How could that be off by that much for injured? Now, what's going on? Love to hear this, what this is all about. And
Sure.
shouldn't this be in committee?
Sure.
Thank you.
So, I don't see anyone online, as far as I know, who could answer that. So I'm going to just see, Counselor Devine, do you have any information
Nope.
to add?
No, I got exactly what everybody else had.
Motion to
Okay.
refer to finance.
Motion to refer to finance.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Then 73 is a late file.
Motion to suspend the rules and receive the mayor's letter.
Motion to suspend the rules and receive the letter, item 73. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we did 74.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye. Have a
Any
good night.
opposed? Thank you. 7 minutes to spare. See you all really soon.